of them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the British Formula 4 Esports Championship as we say goodbye to West Kingsdown and hello to Leicestershire. It is Donington Park of course, and this time the Indy layout as we prepare for races 3 and 4 of the title hunt. Once again in the commentary booth it's myself, Lewis McGlade. Cameron Roger joins me in what I'm sure will be an absolutely thrilling evening of action once again. We had a great time at Brands Hatch. We're in for some more excitement here at Donington.
Absolutely. Awesome track once again, and the racing that we saw last week was amazing. So the fact that we're going to come to another, one of the best tracks in the country once again, I think we're going to see some awesome races. Lots of reverse grids going the way as well. So yeah, a bit of action this evening.
Now, it's not just the British Formula 4 Esports Championship that we're dealing with as well. Last time we went racing, we had the joy of commentating on the Formula 1600, the support series to the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, and we had an awful lot of fun with it. That national will be returning to the pair of that. We'll go to Snetterton next week before we take a little bit of a break. Alton Park International, Silverstone Grand Prix, Knockhill, Donington Park and Brands Hatch GP to end the season. Should be a lot of fun. With one round already done, the championship, this is how things stand. Josh Pulane holding the top of the standings in that'll be actually in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Remy Gilbert obviously coming across the line to take victory in the second race of the championship in the British Formula 4 Esports side of things. In the Formula 1600s, it will be, if you just give me one moment, it will be Dan and Moore on top, actually joint on points with Henry Moore, the pair of those that split the victories at Brands Hatch, both of them with incredibly exciting races.
Yeah, it was awesome. The fact, as you say, that they sort of came 1 and 3, then 3 and 1. Yeah, definitely two of the top drivers, and especially Henry Moore really had to fight for it in that second race, and in general had to hold on around the outside of the final corner, which is of course the long way round, but he still had enough momentum. So I'm looking forward to see how it's going to be. It's obviously it's the shorter variant again, like we had at Brands Indy. We now come to the Donington National Circuit, so we don't have the final couple of hairpins. We just come into the final chicane. And it still should be plenty of great racing action though, but it's going to be very momentum based, and therefore the drivers who sort of keep it clean and consistent should have quite a good run on this track.
Yeah, especially around the national circuit, there's a certain type of car when you get into it, and it's like the GTs and stuff, and to be honest, things that are a bit faster than British Formula 4. Especially around the national side of things, anything past that and it's too quick to race around it, and you kind of you don't really have the best racing. The two cars that we're going to race around here tonight, honestly, we're going to see some excellent stuff. It's a fantastic circuit. Obviously, great overtaking opportunities down at Redgate. Fantastic ones around McLean's and Coppice out the back end of the circuit. Certainly is a lot of fun. But Cam, what's the biggest challenge around here?
Oh, the biggest challenge, I would say potentially the old hairpin, purely because it's such a fast flick, and it's one of those ones, it entices you to come in with so much speed, but if you overdo it by just the tiniest bit, you get on the outside curb or into the gravel, and yeah, you're really having a bad time as you come up the next straight.
Speaking of the circuit then, let's take a little bit of a look around, going through that final chicane and out onto the start-finish straight. If you continue 200 metres past Redgate and going in a straight line, then you will actually end up in Derbyshire where everyone thinks the circuit belongs. It is not, it's certainly in Leicestershire. Over the left-hand side of the circuit, using effectively the pit exit before you go into Redgate and begin this run down the hill through Hollywood and then the Craner curves. Hold your breath a little bit here as the circuit dips away from you just about there. Hold it over to the right-hand side before you throw it through the left-hander going through the Craners and then into this section here, the old hairpin. Watch out for a lot of oversteer on entry. Just bleed back into the throttle, making sure not to run out wide, especially in qualifying where you'll pick up an off-track, a 1X, as we head up the hill through Starkeys up towards McLean's. Watch out for this slightly late apex right-hander. You don't want to turn in too early, otherwise you'll understeer straight off the circuit. Up and over the rise at Coppice before coming into a completely blind right-hand apex. Tricky one to get right, that one, especially when it comes to using too much of the curb on the right-hand side. But it is imperative to get that one because it leads up to one of the best overtaking opportunities on the circuit, on the final stretch up toward that final chicane as they head their way through. This is where you can be brave. If you're able to get one down the inside, you can obviously make a move. If not, you could cause a horrendous crash. It is so easy to do around here. That is a look at the Donington Park layout, the national circuit that we're taking to this time around. I say it's a lot more of a high-speed circuit than people generally remember, especially in a car like this. You're not really on the brakes super hard for too often.
No, you're not. It's a very fast and flowing track, and with that, as I said, it's quite momentum based. And then you come to these cars as well, which are very low horsepower and also momentum based. You see, they've got no wings. There's no downforce to help them at all. So you've got to be very balanced in your inputs, and I think that's really going to benefit the drivers who can be very, very calm. And already look at the qualifying session that we jumped into. Just 1/10 covering the top 4 as Tompkins goes to the top. It looks like we're going to have some really, really close lap times here.
Yeah, the pole position last time was set by Henry Moore, who took that at Brands Hatch. It was Jason Cooper that ended up on the front row alongside, and the gap between those was not very much at all. Just less than half a tenth of a second. I think we'll be seeing tight margins like that as Henry Moore moves back up onto pole position. Of course, our joint championship leader with Dana Moore, the pair of them having a third place and a first place between them. One in race 1, one in race 2. Obviously, for Henry Moore, it was the first victory of the season at Brands Hatch, followed by a third place in race 2, and the pair of them also have a bonus point for fastest lap. We're riding on board with Dana Moore, who actually qualified in 9th place back at Brands. Wow, that's a lot of curb being taken. I think that was far too much.
Oh, yeah, definitely backing out of that one. You're right. It seems like you have to commit to it very, very early into the sort of braking zone as such. Got to turn and get that car rotated, but unfortunately, taking way too much curb there. Most of the curbs are fairly flat, but it seems that big anti-cut at the inside of the chicane is going to be catching out some drivers. We've got Ball there going up into P7, as hoping the P11 in the number 11 car as well, starting another lap.
Yeah, we're all looking at Owen Whittle as well. Driving at 7th in the championship. Couple of top 10s in the previous round. And looking to just kind of keep on that kind of charge a bit further down than where they would expect, obviously, over this limited session here in qualifying. On board now with Oliver Ettridge into that final sector. They come through Coppice and out on the back stretch. This is obviously where the big tyre was, the bridge. Alas, that hasn't existed for a long time. I actually don't know how long it is. It's definitely quite a few years. That's a bit more like it through the final chicane, but too much curb on the left-hand side. In these cars, you don't really want to go near blasting over them. You want to keep off them. You want to get as close as you can. Treat it like Monaco and the barriers. But that was maybe a little bit too harshly over the second of those two curves. It will delay your run out onto the start-finish straight.
Yeah, you just want to sort of rub up against them. Not enough to, jump the car and make it bounce all over the place. You want to keep it nice and smooth and keep that momentum coming onto the front straight, because every sort of millisecond that you can get on the power earlier and you can have the car settled, obviously gains lap time down the front straight, which is actually fairly long in these cars, of course. As we get to 2 minutes to go in the session, Henry Moore leading the way by 0.3 of a second, which is absolutely huge, because the next 0.3 of a second goes all the way down to 13th place. That is absolutely insane. So Whittle jumps up to 6th place, so that's a huge gap for Moore.
Yeah, and Jason Cooper, I think, session done 4th position, so not going to be on the front row of the grid. Adam Tompkins qualified in 4th position back at Brands, now in 2nd position on the front row of the grid. Martin Vilk was actually in 5th place, so kind of expecting maybe a little bit more here from what we're seeing in the qualifying session. Did struggle a little bit in the races, alas, but didn't score a single point back in Brands Hatch, looking to actually make amends for that and have a solid round here at Donington. But that is an unreal lap time from Henry Moore in 11.5. Clearly putting a lot of practice around here, and at 1 with the Donington Park National Circuit, as we've got just around 80 seconds left to go in this session.
Yeah, what can we say? But an amazing show for us back at Brands, and maybe it's going to continue again. Maybe he's the one to contend for the championship, but we have plenty of races this season, 8 in total, and of course 2 races an evening, so that's 16 total races. So it's going to be very difficult, but certainly going to be a fun one until we get to Brands Hatch in November for the finale.
Before we go into the race, let's take a look at those points. These are for the Formula 1600. So Dana Moore and Henry Moore both locked on 41 points. That's for a third place, a first place, and a bonus point for fastest lap. Jason Cooper, after finishing second in the second race at Brands Hatch, ends up in third in the standings. Before we get to Ronnie Smith, Isaac Phelps, who's the first driver we come across that actually has a point deducted courtesy of a penalty infringement. Zero Zambra actually started out really well, finished in second place in the first race at Brands Hatch with that fantastic battle with Henry Moore. Alas, I think we'll want a little bit more from this round because struggled in the second race in that reverse grid race. We'll talk about the spinning wheel a little bit later on. Should be a fun one though, Cam. Not sure who's going to be coming out on top, but Henry Moore seems to be a pretty safe bet.
Certainly looking very strong, and it was also the sort of the racecraft as well that was really good back at Brands Indy. And even though it's only sort of 15-minute races, what we saw was a lot of drivers strategically waiting for the right times to try and make the moves. And especially in that first race, Zambra was coming at him, but Henry Moore was able to hold on that final lap. But here's the grid for today's first race.
So back-to-back pole positions for Henry Moore. Adam Tompkins joining him on the front row for the first time this season. Ronnie Smith in third, with Jason Cooper drawing back from second to fourth, the driver who's looking to move his way up in the championship. Zero Zambra started out the season with a second place finish. Once more of that, Owen Whitter will start this one from 6th. Behind that, we get Isaac Phelps, the driver with the first points deducted, courtesy of a post-race penalty. Simon Ball starting the first race for their championship in 8th place. Martin Vilk in 9th. Dana Moore, joint championship leader, rounding out the top 10. William Hope, and then Brandon Loudon starts from 12th. Ed Hope from 13th. Jack Badger from 14th, with Ettridge, Caulfield, Scudell, and Knowles in 18th position. The final drivers inside the top 20, Jordan Groves and Matthew Crisp. Stepanovsky out in 23rd position, with Macman Farquhar really struggled back in Brands Hatch, along with Aaron Mensah in 23rd position. Those two not setting a lap time in qualifying. Cam, we've got a few moments before we get into the first race of the evening. Is Moore going to clean this one? That's the big question. I think the answer is potentially yes. Adam Tompkins will join in the front row of the grid, looking for that fight up towards the first corner. Good starts from the pair of them. Great start from our pole sitter, and Henry Moore with a clean launch down towards the first corner at Redgate. They'll all try and fight for their little bits of track position on the race down towards that first corner, heading their way through. Henry Moore with an easy lead. Is battles though between Ronnie Smith and Jason Cooper, being hung out to dry with a little bit of a look down the inside from Zero Zambra.
Oh yeah, the frantic racing. The top two have got away though, and then the next huge crash. Cars going upside down. 3 cars already off in the gravel.
Dana Moore.
Wow, that is your championship leader.
Yeah, that is your joint championship leader involved in that. Dana Moore dropping down the order. Martin Vilk as well, who I said started out the season in a poor way back in Brands, despite having great pace. Here's a look though for the race lead. Adam Tompkins is trying to get it done early on Henry Moore. They head up towards McLean's for the first time, working their way through slightly differing lines in the race and what you're taking qualifying, just courtesy of taking the defensive line. It definitely is a good overtaking opportunity. There's plenty of side-by-sides through it in the background. Good start from Moore though, but this is a circuit with its high speed. It's all about slipstream, and I'm sure Adam Tompkins will try something in the 170.
Moore does know how to lead from the front though. He did that in the first race back at Brands Indy, but certainly, as you say, a lot more slipstream this time around with these 2 long straights as we get back down to Redgate once again. Can Tompkins do anything to get up towards the lead? I think the answer is going to be yes. It's going to be a side-by-side battle. Also in the background, we've got Smith and Cooper coming to the outside in towards the first corner. Redgate up the inside for the lead though. There goes Tompkins already at the start of lap 2.
Yeah, the outside line should really work around Redgate here. We'll take a look as they go down through Hollywood. Yes, the inside line's being taken from Adam Tompkins, but the speed from the blue car on the outside should carry it to the inside line as they head through the Craner curves. Fantastically close between the pair of them, but Henry Moore is going to hold the advantage. They head their way through the old hairpin. Ronnie Smith has been able to hold on to 3rd position, looking for a first podium of the season. Take a look at some of this on replay. I don't even know where to begin with all of that. Maybe it was a little bit of a squeeze there, I believe, from Dan and Moore, but it's really hard to pick apart Martin Vilk and Simon Ball, the other 2 drivers involved in it.
Yeah, it's that car on the inside, which might be built actually. Yeah, just coming across to the left-hand side. Didn't quite see why those. Oh, that's actually a nice rejoin there by 75 machine. That was Aaron Mensah getting involved in that one. So yeah, fourth car. Yeah, fortunately, they seem to all be going away. Mafarkar and Bull, I believe, are in the pit lane getting the points.
Yeah, I think they've had a very troubled start to the evening. That's out wide though from Ronnie Smith. Jason Cooper might be able to pounce here. Of course, Cooper with a podium in the second race, just about finds the gap on the inside as they run down the back of the Wheatcroft straight into the first corner at Redgate once again. It's going to be Smith going around the outside. Zero Zambra's going to try and follow them through. We'll head down through Hollywood and the Craner curves once more. Ronnie Smith just about giving a room on the inside. There's a bit of contact between the pair of them. A good catch though from Jason Cooper. That was so close. A little bit too much there from Ronnie Smith trying to come in behind. But at the moment then, it is Jason Cooper working his way up into third position. Into fourth goes Zero Zambra. Isaac Phelps is trying to work his way through. Oh, that blink might have saved him.
Oh, absolutely might have. Phelps had to back out of that one. They're still side by side though. As we go up towards McLean's on the inside, it's going to be that purple machine of Zambra, and he's going to have that position. Maybe no, squeezing out, but here comes Phelps up the inside. Also Whittle, four-way battle as he get up to Coppers. Awesome fighting here at the beginning of this race. Contact is made though once again. Is that Smith going off the track?
Yeah, with Phelps and Isaac Phelps. So big shame there for Ronnie Smith. Whittle involved, Phelps involved. Big shames for all of those. Just feisty racing when it's that close all the time. Drama is bound to happen. We look at Ed Hope getting past Jack Badger on the race into the final chicane, and a slow exit from William Hope. We might have a couple of switches between the two Hopes. Oh, it says drama.
Yes, Goodall and Ettridge. Awkward rejoin there on the exit of the final chicane at Roberts, but everyone seems to be getting through, but not for Ettridge there. Really dropping down the way. Obviously having some contact in towards that final chicane. Let's see how this one happened. Up the inside is going to be for the 57 machine. He comes back, and they're not side by side at this point. Is that going to be an absolute chunk of the curb? Yes, it is. And unfortunately, contact's made, no room to avoid.
Yeah, Oliver Ettridge just overdoing it there. Connor Scudeau with absolutely nowhere to go. There's plenty of side-by-side ahead of all of this, and Dana Moore is sat behind it thinking, I'm trying to find my way through. They're going slow. That was Isaac Phelps, clearly with a damaged vehicle, now just trying to reach the checkered flag. Dana Moore now works his way into 14th position after early dramas, clearly working his way through with excellent speed through the pack, courtesy of all the drama. The race lead, though, we're not even 5 minutes into this one. It is still close. Henry Moore, despite having incredible pole position advantage, the slipstream is keeping Adam Tompkins in this at the moment, and that's not to say that he doesn't have the speed to win this, because I think he absolutely does.
Yeah, we saw with Zambra almost identical the first race back at Brands Indy with Henry Moore leading. Zambra just sitting in there. This time around it's Tompkins. Is he going to go for a dive down the inside? No, he doesn't. I think he's going to do a similar strategy of sitting there but waiting for the lap. The issue is with back at Brands, Zambra waited for the final lap, so he only gave himself one opportunity. Maybe we're going to see that a little bit earlier as Badger and Knowles make some moves. Badger for 5th, Knowles for 8th place it was, but he's dropped back down to 9th.
Yeah, I've got to. I've got to say, like in this kind of battle, we said with Zero Zambra that he left it too late in the previous one. He admitted that himself in the interview. He was saying that, look, I really would have done it, with a couple of laps left to go. I kind of think Adam Tompkins might wait until a couple of laps left to go and then go for one. I'm sure this fight is absolutely not done. There is a look at Henry Moore, obviously. Fairly calm at the moment, must be said, behind the wheel, but knows how to get a race victory done in this championship, but knows, to be fair, consistency is king in a title race like this, and picking off podiums throughout all the races of the championship, that will probably secure the championship. It's just about keeping your nose clean in this race, and of course in that reverse grid race that will follow. Isaac Phelps and Ettridge switching. I did notice that Dana Moore got past Mentz on the previous lap. It's more of a look, but no position switch here for the race lead. It's getting all dramatic for 5th place.
Yeah, certainly is. Loads of colours coming up on the timing as Moore goes back behind Mensah again. And look at the cars going all over the track, trying to find some space. Up the inside, it's going to be Loudon, and Hope goes side by side in towards Redgate for that time round. Loudon is leading that battle as it stands, but Hope was in that 5th place. He needs to try and get the run as we come back downhill once again through the Craner curves. Can't necessarily overtake into this going to the old hairpin, but what you want to do is try and get a better line than your opponent up ahead of you and try and get the run back uphill. Slightly different lines actually being used by the two, so maybe that's a bit on purpose, trying to find a way through. As it stands, they are in a bit of a battle, sorry, a bit of a train, I should say. They've got 2 cars coming in behind. We've got Cofield and Crisp to round out that top 8.
Yeah, certainly so, and of course top 10 scoring points in all of this. Looking there with Loudon, got Is that in a full race seat with Will Hope? It's quite hard to tell from this angle, but I mean, again, we will discuss this last time. I respect a stick sequential every single day. Also, don't yank the handbrake. It's a nice setup, but yeah, no, I'd be too tempted to pull the handbrake just because mad bands.
Yeah, I'd hope maybe actually you sort of remove the keybind for it so that you don't accidentally.
I'm sure you wouldn't knock it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to see. This battle at the front is getting very close. One thing I thought about for Moore, though, does he take into consideration that his main rival after the first round, Moore, is way back down the field, or does he want to just try and get every race win that he can, get the points on the table early in the season? Certainly something to think about, though, when we get to the final couple of laps. But Tompkins getting very close this time around, up towards McLean's. I wonder if he's going to have a bit of a dive. No, he's just sitting in again, just trying to extend that battle. Extend the gap to the battle behind them with Cooper and Zab.
We've got to remember as well, Adam Tompkins actually has just a single point on the board with a 10th place finish in the first race of the championship. So Tompkins is looking to do something very different. But then I think this is too early to count people out of the championship. I know Henry Moore at this point, very early stages, would be classified as the favourite and all that kind of stuff. But I will always go back to Alvaro Bautista in the World Superbike Championship when he won, what was it, the first 12 races and then quite literally exploded. So you don't count your chickens before they've hatched and all that. And I'm sure Henry Moore won't be doing that. You've got to treat it one race at a time and win as many races as you can, obviously. And so right now, I think that is all the focus is right now. It's not thinking about championship. It's not playing long game. I just want to win this race.
Boys, Hope is having a battle. He's got Chris right behind him. Chris has already got past Caulfield on that previous lap and is now trying to get a second position up. William Hope is going to be side by side downhills through the crater curves. That's actually going to turn to the inside line. Really nice move there from Chris, and he completes his. Hope's having to defend now from the 72 machine of Caulfield, who's going to get the run, get the momentum up the hill once again. Oh, he goes on the grass. That's going to lose him a little bit of speed as well. It's going to be round the outside though. This is not an easy overtake to do. Up towards McLean's it's going to be, but the outside of Schwann's curve is not necessarily where you want to be, but he's made it. Sticks to Caulfield. They're up into 7th place. Hope dropping also about 3 places in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, I think was one of the drivers that kind of worked their way up the field, courtesy of some of the other bits of drama going on. But that's fine. Sometimes it's easy to get knocked out of the rhythm. Just follow the slipstream and keep up with the train, and watch out for that train behind because Groves, Badger, Knowles and Ed Hope are all battling very closely for 9th position as Hope's going to make his way past Cameron Knowles. Menson also. Dana Moore. Has Dana Moore had more problems, or is that just technical?
Maybe.
I think he had a mistake at Coppice.
Yeah, it looks like he's kept the position with Mensa, though, in the battle that they've been having for 13th place. So that's, definitely not the place he would have been. Because remember, it's only points inside the top 10. It's a normal sort of F1 style point system. Oh, there's contact in the background. Mensa touches the back of Amor, and he goes right. Oh, when he reverses into that Phelps coming through as well.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of in there, that has plucked the, you can see just trying to basically get going right now, but that contact will have ripped the rear left wheel off, and obviously, in fact, I'll leave you to do the discussion on how a diff and why that car's got no power. I'll leave you to chat about that one. You're the one that knows more about cars than I do.
Yes, well, all the power goes to the, especially if the axle's broken, all the power will go to the wheel with the least resistance, so if it's broken, it's just going to be spinning, and the other one, therefore, won't get any drive to it. The easiest way, but also, can you blow your engine in an accident like that? Maybe potentially, but yeah, potentially just a drive shaft or some sort of suspension issue.
There would have definitely been more smoke in that. I'm just absolutely sure it's just pulled the rear left wheel off, or at least broken the drive to it. So that's where all the power's going. Like you say, differential follows the path of least resistance, and so yeah, that car ain't got nothing. Big shame for Aaron Mentor, but was getting a little bit too close to the rear end of Dana Moore in the first corner, so only has himself to blame for that incident. But the second part of it is just kind of, you're just in the way. There's nothing you can really do on that. Cameron Knowles and Jack Badger switch over. The race lead remains very close, and we're getting to the important part of this race, Cam, because there's only 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go on the clock. When they cross the line, it should be 3 laps left. This is the kind of time where, we were talking with Zero Zambra last time. I think this is the time where you would want to try and make a move, especially with the slips in the tyre. You don't want to leave it to that last lap.
Yeah, 3 laps to go is a good one, because then even if they get you back, you then still have the final lap to go again. If you go with 2 laps to go, then they're just going to come back past you on the final lap potentially. So this would be nice with the maths. If he wants to make it work, he's going to get the run out of the final chicane of Roberts down towards Redgate. He had a look up the inside already at the end of the first lap onto lap 2. Is it going to be the dive up the inside? No, he's not. He's waiting once again, very patiently, but surely at some point he's going to have a dive down there. And hopefully Henry Moore isn't getting too comfortable, because the move is definitely coming.
Yeah, and Jason Cooper and Zero Zambra will absolutely start their fight for the final spot on the podium, looking both for their second podiums of the season. Zero Zambra obviously was the driver that we're talking about when it came to attacking too late back in Brands Hatch, so I'm sure that will be very much on their mind at the moment. 3 laps left to go here in the first race at Donington Park. Of course, this will be followed by the qualifying and then the third race of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, and then of course we'll be back for the reverse grid race of the Formula 1600, which I'm sure will be an awful lot of fun. But here right now we've got quite a race for the victory, very close between Tompkins. I think the thing is, you have to play your cards. Where is that move you want to make? Is it down to the chicane? Is it into Redgate? Is it something brave like over into McLean's or Coppice? Timing is everything. Redgate's the obvious one.
It is the obvious one, but I think it's possibly his best opportunity just because it's so wide, and he's actually maybe lost a couple of centimetres there coming out of the final chicane, so maybe not the opportunity that he would have wanted. As Zambra is also getting close to Cooper for that third place, the final one on the podium as well, so that's something to look out for. All these guys confirmed in the reverse grid place, so that's nothing to worry about. They just need to fight for position and the points that come with it this time around. Surely Tompkins isn't going to wait to the final lap, but maybe the move up towards McLean's is going to be the one for him. And also Zambra so close to Cooper coming into the old hairpin.
Yeah, this is like what you're doing is you're dealing so much pressure onto that car ahead, because like you get on the brakes, a couple of meters too early, mate. You go a little bit too easy to the corner, and we're making contact. That's what the car behind is doing right now. We ride on board from the roll hoop of Adam Tompkins. There was no look into the inside at Redgate. There's been no look around this circuit at the moment. Adam Tompkins feels fairly settled with second place right now. Will that change? Of course, that's just a single point to their name in the 2023 championship thus far. Would like to change that now. We race down into the final chicane for the penultimate lap time. Into it they go, and Adam Tompkins will take over the race lead. Will that switch by the time they get to Redgate once more?
Has Moore got enough momentum coming out of that final corner? He had to obviously slow down a little bit earlier to defend or to contest that position as such. Around the outside is going to be into Redgate, though. He's going to try and find a bit of a wider line. That should get him a straighter exit and a run down the old hairpin. His final lap time, final opportunities. He's got a bit of a run. He's got the momentum.
Yeah, now has to get a little bit inventive with it. Backs out of it by just breathing the throttle. Does not want to try anything into the old hairpin. Watch the slight corrections of oversteer as they get onto the brakes and rise their way up the hill. It's a better drive, though, off of the old hairpin from Henry Moore. Adam Tompkins is feeling the pressure. Henry Moore gets to the outside, backs out of it, though. Does not fancy going. I think that's a smart move, Cam.
I definitely think it is. He's going to have to once again try a different line. It's all going to be repaying the favour down in towards the final chicane, but he's got to get a good run out of Coppice. Try and do a slightly different line. Big slide there from Tompkins as well.
Yeah, here we go. The inside line. Look at how much tighter that is from Henry Moore. Defensive line being taken from Tompkins. Zero Zambra and Jason keeping switch positions. 2 wheels onto the grass. This is going to be a brave move from Henry Moore. He's trying to commit down there. He's gone for the place where there was absolutely no gap. Trying to get. He's going to overcook it. Oh, and Tompkins has overcooked it. It should be the up and under. And Henry Moore looking for the first Formula 1600 race of the season and takes it. Of the evening rather. Along with his first victory of the season, will take 2 on the bounce when it comes to opening races of the evening. Zero Zambra will take 3rd, and that was brave and very, very well played by Henry Moore.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Moore break and Tompkins just went straight on, I was thinking, oh, he's broken a bit too late there. And he certainly did. Sent it over the second apex at Roberts, and it worked out perfectly. Moore timed that to perfection, and he had the confidence and the bravery to keep it pinned on the grass and managed to make it work and take their race victory. Awesome stuff. And I'm sure Zambra must have done something in that final chicane as well, because just by 0.02 of a second, he got that 3rd place.
Yeah, a really, really impressive race there. Got to say, well played by Henry Moore, but easy to overcook that one. And certainly, so this is Dana Moore coming up towards the line to finish what has been a fairly disappointing race. We'll take a look at the spinny wheel. Cam, what are we going to line up on? Of course, 5 through 10. I think, what was it last time? Was it 6 last time?
Yeah, it was either 5 or 6. It was one of the lower ones this time around. Is it going to be 10? No, it looks like it's going to be 7th place, which I believe is Daniel Cofield. But we'll see when we get to the results. But that's sort of right in the middle of the options. So, yeah, 7th place to be reversed. It
is indeed Daniel Cofield who will take the reverse grid pole position, finishing in that 7th, which means that Henry Moore will have to drop back to 7th position for the second race of the evening. Adam Tompkins coming up just shy of the victory there with Zero Zambra, Jason Cooper and Brandon Loudon. Of course, Matthew Chris, Daniel Cofield, those will be the ones reversed. William Hope and Ed Hope going either side of Jordan Groves at the back end of the top 10 of the final points paying positions. Fastest lap being set by Zero Zambra, so there'll be a bonus point for that one. So 3rd place plus the extra one, making things nice and easy. Behind all of that, Cam Knowles ended up taking 11th position, Jack Badger, Dan and Moore in 13th, Oliver Ettridge, Older Stepanovsky, before we got to basically a big old list of retirements and a big old list of disappointment from that one. Easy to have though, as you can see. Look at all those drivers that finished multiple laps down. There's a lot of retirements to that list.
Yeah, did you notice on that first page there was basically 5 little pairings all the way down that were separated by about 1/10 of a second at the end. So it seemed like everyone just separated out into their own little battles. There wasn't one massive train, which is quite an interesting one. You sort of seem to go find your partner in crime and try and find a way past. So it's going to be a very nice one for the second race reverse coming up.
Well, quickly before we get into the qualifying for the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, I think it's good that we catch up with Henry Moore, of course, taking a victory there. Let's talk about the emotion on that final lap. That looked pretty tense in a fight with Adam Tompkins, and you came out on top courtesy of a mistake from him.
Yeah, to be honest, I should have defended on the second last lap, but that was a really fun race. Thanks to Adam for being smart, and yeah, shame he had the mistake into the last corner, but yeah, really good race overall.
Were you expecting that mistake, courtesy of like where you were? Was that kind of what you were intending to do there, or because he was obviously squeezing you over, you went for a gap that put you 2 wheels on the grass? It all looked a bit risky.
Yeah, it was definitely risky, but when you're battling for the lead on the last lap of a big race like this, you have to take risks, and we both took the risk. He made the mistake, which is usually going to happen when you're that tight into the apex of a chicane, but it was clean, no contact, so I'm happy.
Any point in that race were you thinking about the championship, or is it literally just I want to take this race victory?
It's definitely a bit of both. I knew Adam was going to be smart. He's always been smart and always had good racecraft, so that really wasn't a worry that he was going to take me out or anything. So yeah, I was just going for the race win, to be honest.
Well, you'll be dropped down to 7th on the reverse grid. We wish you good luck from that position. We'll let you get off and make your preparations for that one. Should be a lot of fun.
Yep, thanks guys. Thank you.
Henry Moore then, second race win of the season, and a very well-deserved race victory indeed. I mean, like I say, Cam, solid effort there from Henry. Just played the cards right on the final lap. Hopefully we'll be joined by, I was going to say Cameron Roger, but I was going to say maybe we can grab an interview, depends on how much time we've got. Might be able to sneak one with Adam Tompkins, because I quite like to understand what happened on the final lap. Adam, talk to us about that final chicane there. That was the difficult bit there, just a little bit of a mistake. Hard racing, though, a lot of fun?
Yeah, I thought he was going to lunge up the inside, to be honest. It was a great clean race. I tried to play the long game, just stick behind the slipstream so he can get a gap to P3, but yeah, I just thought Henry was going to put it on the inside, but no, fair play. He dummied me there, and yeah, I think he deserved the win, to be honest.
We've got the obviously the second race coming up. You'll be starting from 6th place on that. You look pretty quick around here. Chances of victory, or are you not even thinking about that? Just play it, one position at a time.
One position at a time, I think. Yeah, it's one of my favourite tracks, so I haven't been able to practice much, to be honest. So I'm quite lucky to have still got pace here, but yeah, I think we're just play the long game again. Just pick people off one lap per lap, and see if anyone makes a mistake up front, and might be a bit of drama.
Well, we'll keep our eye open for that. Cheers, Adam, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, there we go, Cam. Obviously, all of that sorted. Interviews done, ready for qualifying for British Formula 4 Esports. Obviously, this is the main thing for us. The Formula 1600, that's our support championship. The British Formula 4 Esports Championship delivered last week. I'm sure it's going to deliver this time as we get ready for the second round rather of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. These cars, they just work at so many tracks, and with the couple of straights we've got around here, I think the action is going to be amazing. Here's your calendar. We come back to Donington, and we also go to Brands twice as well, with 4 obviously of the UK's best tracks in the middle of them. So it's going to be an awesome evening awesome season of racing, but especially this evening at Donington Park National. I really think it's going to be a good race. It was really frantic actually back at Brands Hatch. I don't know if it's going to be quite so frantic here, but there should still be some really, really nice battles.
I think, I mean, I've commentated on a few Formula 4 races around Donington National, including obviously the first round of last season, and that was pretty frantic. Me and Connery Maddock had a good time commentating on all of that. Of course, you can see same season as what we have in the Formula 1600s. Obviously, the pair of them visit the same 8 circuits. In this one, though, slightly different when it comes to those prizes. We've got some cash up for grabs: 3,000 for the team's championship, 2,000 for the run-up, and then 1,500 for third place in the team's championship. Of course, the drivers' champion, of which last season it was Luke McEwen. $1,000 goes their way, 750 for second, 250 for third. The way the evening is going to work, we're about to head into the qualifying session here at Donington Park before we go into a 20-minute race. The spinny wheel will come back out again. We'll get our reverse grid draw. We'll go and do the Formula 1600 race, and then we'll come back. We'll revisit this, and we'll do race 2 of the evening. Race 4 of the championship should be a fun one. Here's a look at the championship standings. Obviously, Josh Pulane currently holding onto the top of all of this after a couple of third place finishes from the previous round at Brands Hatch. Remy Gilbert will take the second position in the championship, joint with Gordy Much, the pair of those being victors at the previous round. The only thing between them is that Remy Gilbert actually has a 3-point deduction, which counters the 8th place finish that he got in the first race. Pete Berryman had a bit of a difficult start to the season. The first race had some drama going through Paddock Hill, as did, and you won't see them on this page, a lot of those drivers higher up in the championship last season. Josh Ladd, Luke McEwen, the 2 drivers that finished first and second in the season last championship. Those are way down the order, scoring no points, and including McEwen actually on -1. We'll talk about that in a moment. This is the team's championship. Freem UK taking top honours at the moment. Guild Racing after that fantastic victory from Remy Gilbert in second position. JHR by 29 Esports taking that victory in the first race with Gordy Much, and Stormforce Racing, ART, Williams Esports. Those 3 teams I expect to be fighting for this championship, so they've not got off to a good start. Interesting to see where they end up. We'll take a look once again around the Donington Park circuit, this time on board in one of our British Formula 4 Esports cars on the race up towards that first corner. You can see how much speed we're carrying, differential to what we're seeing in the Formula 1600s. So much faster over here, but you still have to take a lot of this bit on the left-hand side to turn in for the first corner at Redgate. Make sure you get that good run onto the Wheatcroft Straight, of course, from that final chicane at the Fog ES. Hollywood, Craner curves, same as always, absolutely pinned. Keep it far over to the right-hand side, turn it in through the left, dipping 2 wheels just about onto the grass on the left-hand side before you come into the old hairpin. Less oversteer effect is courtesy of the downforce. You go through the up towards the Schwantz curve as they head under the bridge. Up onto McLean's. Again, you're looking for a slightly later apex here. You don't want to apex it too early because you'll understeer out onto the grass on the left-hand side into Coppice once more. Being careful not to take too much of that on the inside. You'll pick up a lot of dirty tyres. You'll get pushed out wide. The aero wash will take over as well with all the other cars racing their way through onto the Starkey Straight down towards the Fog ES. Keep it as far over to the left-hand side and make sure you hit your brake marker. There is very little when it comes to brake markings down into that final chicane, so getting it right every single lap of this 20-minute race is going to be difficult, let alone the qualifying session, which they're about to head into, out onto the Wheatcroft Straight. That is a look around the Donington Park National Circuit. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky little one. Honestly, I would say that Donington Park, probably more on the Grand Prix layout, but I do actually really like the National. I think this is my #1 circuit in the UK. Maybe Alton Park's up there, but I really do like Donington.
Big statement, but to be honest, I think you're right. It's the most, how can I say it? Like so most of the tracks in the UK, they're quite sort of club sort of level tracks, if you know what I mean. Whereas this is close to a more Grand Prix style circuit, a bit more open, a bit more flowing, a bit wider in certain in certain places, and therefore, especially when it comes to a car like this, it really works out nicely. And to us, I agree, it's such a fun layout. Even when you get to sort of some of the bigger cars and some of the smaller ones like we're racing today, it just seems to work really nicely. You can get into such a flow around here. So I'm really looking forward to this race as well. I think it's going to suit these cars. I think we're going to see a really nice battle. We just need to see if Josh Ladd, if he gets pole position again, if he can hold on, which he couldn't quite do, unfortunately, with some contacts in the previous round.
We're already, by the way, fast in the pole position from last season by quite a margin. Last season's pole position was a 1 minute 4.359. We're already a tenth and a half, maybe 2 tenths faster than that. Josh Ladd qualified only in 8th position when we went racing around here last season. Looking for something slightly better than that as he goes onto the pole position by nearly a tenth and a half a second over Moreno Sirica. Of course, looking really strong after the previous round of the championship where Josh Ladd had that pole position. But here come the Apex train. McEwen, Much and Berryman, who is really the qualifying foreman of the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Lowest qualifying in 2 seasons is 4th place.
Yeah, looking very strong there. Awesome stuff. They've obviously very much prepared as Poulain, 20th place. Of course, your championship leader by 4 points is sort of really enjoying. Not enjoying this qualifying session so far. Almost a second off. Maybe just trying to get some heat into those tyres for that next lap.
Yeah, certainly. So Tamas Simon in the Veloce Vexed car on our screen at the moment. We did see, I saw Matt Emery, who is now just 1 position ahead, a VR user. I did use some VR recently. It really scared me, to be honest. It's it was the halo. I felt very claustrophobic in the car, but it's great for spatial awareness. Tamas Simon will cross the line. Arvidsson goes into 11th position, and there is no improvement there from Tamas Simon. Really interesting to see Remy Gilbert, though, in 13th position, much further down the order than we would expect for the driver that currently sits joint second in the championship.
Yeah, of course, won the second race, the reverse grid race, but came 8th in that first race as well for Guild Esports. So not quite so fast around here, but once again, look how close the lap times are. Just a couple of tenths really separating that sort of bottom half of the table so far, with a decent chunk in terms of how close the lap times are. 10th and a half at the front for Peter Berryman. That's a huge amount of lap time at a circuit like this, as we're on board with Gordy Much coming through the old hairpin, just trying to nail the lines. And you see he gets the edge of his tyre right to the edge of every single curb, using every bit of racetrack.
Gordy Much, aspiring commentator. He messaged me earlier on today saying, when are we getting into a comedy booth together? When are we getting into a comedy booth together? I told him to focus on his driving. Of which, he did pretty well last time. Obviously, was first place in the first race of the championship. Obviously, after a lot of drama, including that contact between Luke McEwen and Josh Ladd, who, by the way, 3rd and 4th. Drama. Josh Ladd now moves up into 2nd position with Ted Bradbury moving up to 5th. The first time he can qualify this season after having to start both the races from Brands Hatch from the rear of the field. So it should be interesting to see what does Gordy Much do across the line, looking to improve on a 3.90. Well, Berryman improves on it, sets a 3.83, so a fantastic lap time, but no improvement from Gordy Much.
Just half a tenth covering 2nd, 3rd and 4th place on the grid, as that actually continues quite a way down from 7th place down to 12th place. They are all within about 10th of a second of each other as well. Such close lap times here. 3.5 minutes to go. Here's Lucas Muller for Dürr Esports coming out of the final corner up towards the start finish line. P12 as it stands, going to be in that. He does actually slightly change his lap time, but stays in that 12th place.
Remember, Lucas Muller was looking really impressive last round at various points, particularly in that second race, and unfortunately got involved in an incident, which, to be fair, quite a lot of people got involved in an incident in that second race at Brands Hatch. It was pretty crazy. Championship leader then, very far down the order, and the driver who put on by far the best moves back in Brands Hatch, including that incredible 3-wide pass into Paddock Hill. Looking to have to put a lot of those onto the into the race if there's going to be any major improvement, but I suspect there's more time in this qualifying, taking a lot of that first curb, and that will probably invalidate the lap time based on his facial expression. Josh Poulain will come across the line, 19th position, and that's where they're going to stay. Fuming championship leader.
Yeah, that is not where he wants to be, because not only is it a low down position, but he's 9 places away from the points. And also, if the reverse grid is 7th, like we have in this F1600s, then that's 12 places that he needs to gain in this first race to get back up there, which is very, very tricky, especially considering a lot of his championship rivals are up there ahead of him, the likes of Mucha, Berryman, of course, Gilbert, also actually struggling a little bit from joint 2nd place in the championship. So definitely a little bit more open, it seems to be, here at Donington National.
Yeah, certainly so. That is an incredible lap time by Peter Berryman. Of course, when it comes to the qualifying, once again, I'll bring it up from last season. Of course, tyres, temperature, etc., etc., etc. It's not, 1-to-1. But last season, it was a 1 minute 4.359 in the hands of Alex Spetz. That's quite a bit faster, half a second faster around the same layout. Of course, like you say, temperature I think is a little bit cooler out on circuit than it was last season, but still, that's a mega lap time from Berryman. Also to have taken a pole position by a whopping 10th of a second. Of course, there's still a few more lap times to come in as we ride on board with Daniel Sabula, who I believe is the last driver out on circuit right now.
Oh yeah, everyone's sort of done their laps early, haven't they, in the session? We haven't got a flurry of cars to come across at the final second, but Sabula still potential to improve. Currently 25th place, so definitely some nice improvements would be very helpful on this final lap. Number 27 machine. Oh, look at that! Love the glasses, the Thug Life glasses in towards the final corner. Absolutely loving life, but are they going to be loving their qualifying position across the line? Where are they going to improve any sorts of major moves? No, he's going to be 25th place.
Sorry, Cam, but you don't understand. He doesn't care about where he's qualifying. He might even be setting lap times right now. He's just out there making sure that Daniel Sabula appears on this broadcast, just telling everyone what's what. I respect it. I respect it.
I do as well. He's bobbing his head along. He's probably listening to some D&B or something like that. Just absolutely loving.
No, the room's perfectly silent. It's just perfectly silent. He's just moving his head. He's having a great time.
Yeah, it certainly is, as he just finishes off the qualifying session in style there. And certainly looks like it's going to be an awesome race. There's literally thousands of a second separating each car here.
Yeah, and again, can we just speak a little bit about Peter Berryman's qualifying record? Because, of course, the pole position there, pretty impressive, of course. Qualified 2nd place in the previous round. That was, the previous ones from that was a couple of pole positions. And again, a reminder, the lowest qualifying position is 4th for Pete Berryman. It is all Stormforce Racing ART on the front row. Pete Berryman, Luke McEwen, the series champion, will start from 2nd. Josh Ladd in 3rd position. Those two came to blows in the previous round at Brands Hatch, with Gordy Much in 4th. Ted Bradbury in 5th position with his best qualifying of the season, obviously. And Moreno Sarika in 6th, making it 2 Williams Esports inside that top 6. Matt Emery will start from 7th position with Matt Caruana, fresh off his victory at the weekend at Silverstone, along with Ryan McAuliffe. He'll start from 8th position. Harley Horton from 9th, and Stanley Deslandis starting from 10th place in the JHR by 29 Esports. Tamas Simon and Lucas Muller rounding out the top 12. Isaac Arvidsson and Alexander Davidson starting from 14th position, with James Armstrong and Aaron Vasquez. Tobias Olsen continuing on what was quite a difficult start of the season with Simrace Sweden Esports, along with Remy Gilbert after that victory at Brands Hatch. Disappointment for Guild. Josh Poulain, championship leader, starting from 19th. Mamal Biancalilla and Duncan Hoffland not impressing too much for the Aston Martin team, with Ben Hitt starting from 22nd. Brandon Abrams and Rachel Concoli will start from 24th. Daniel Sabula absolutely bopping along to some mega tunes in 25th place, with Saoirse Fitzpatrick starting her first race of the season in 26th. Marino and Carl Chase, Ryan McAuliffe and Daniel Parins Smith starting from 30th position. More disappointment for Ryan McAuliffe. More disappointment as well for Daniel Parris Smith and Carl Chase, rounding out the 30-car field. Cam picks for victory. You've got a few seconds. Go for it.
Gordy Much from the 2nd row.
Gordy Much in the 2nd row, looking for another victory on the season. I can't look past Pete Berryman. That is the important thing here. Of course, you've got Luke McEwen up there. You've got Josh Ladd as well. A lot of the high flyers in the championship 12 months ago looking to take their first victory of the season and looking to get through this race without making contact. We'll have to wait and see as the first race here at Donington Park, 3rd of the championship, is about to get underway. Pete Berryman starting this one from pole position. We are underway here at Brands Hatch. Good start from both of the Stormforce cars, and instantly Luke McEwen's going to come across to to cover Josh Ladd into the first corner. Ladd looking to the inside, straight around the outside from Gordy Much, trying to take over third position immediately. Might well do so in that JHR by 29 Esports car. They race their way down the hill through Hollywood. It's all clean in the background, down towards the old hairpin for the first time. Gordy Much with the inside line as they head their way through the exit of the Craner curves into the inside of the old hairpin, and it is Gordy Much up in the third position.
It sure is, but look at Ted Bradbury also getting on the back of this battle for his currently third place up towards McLean's as the top two start to get away just a little bit, almost three wide as we come in towards the braking zone. Around the outside for Ted Bradbury is going to be off into the gravel. He's not going to be able to hold that position surely, as here comes Sarika up the inside in towards Coppice, and he should have that position done just on the exit of the corner into the Coppice down onto his back straight.
Yeah, Caruana also coming through. Fantastic stuff from him, picking up on the issues for Ted Bradbury, now getting into the rear end of Moreno Sarika as they head down the penultimate stretch down into the Falcon TS. The inside line being taken a little bit there from Caruana, who's a little bit slow. You've also got a slow one from Harley Horton. You've got a crash in the background. There's a big one. Standing Deslandis involved in all of that, as well as I think Aaron Vasquez potentially. Alexander Davidson certainly in there for the Pure Sims team. Big drama as they head their way through that final chicane for the first time.
That was a big hit as well. Car's going to be out of the race for sure with that one. We saw wheels flying, unfortunately, as this is Sarika down the hill. He's got Corona, I should say, all over the back of him, in towards the old hairpin. No moves to be made just there. It's Corona. We saw him really fighting up towards the front, but unfortunately had a bit of contact coming down Paddock Hill Bend due to getting too close to some cars. So it's definitely easy to do so at these styles of track. Up the inside of McLean's is going to be, though, Ted Bradbury. Nice clean move, squeezing out on the exit there and just sliding up the inside.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from those two. It's both Stormforce racing cars. They won't battle too hard. Of course, both represent the Apex Racing team, as is Gordy Much. So at the moment, for those, it's a 1, 2, and 3 on the grid. Obviously, big drama for Stanley Deslandis. Let's take a look at how that all unfolded. We're keeping our eye on the JHR by 29 Esports driver. You've got the Veloce Vex coming through. You've got Lucas Miller. That is just, I mean, it's the Constantina effect a little bit, but a costly mistake from Stanley Deslandis straight into the rear of, I believe, Matt Emery going into that final chicane.
Yeah, we obviously didn't see it was quite ahead, but definitely that Veloci car slowing down just a little bit too much compared to some of the other people. But it's easy to do so, though, when everyone's trying to come through, especially on that first lap. Everyone's close together, and they just, potentially aren't going at full speed even in some of the corners. As we're getting a couple of two-way battles up to the front, it's Berryman and McEwen. Of course, they want to try and pull away, but Much and Josh Ladd are certainly not too far away. And if anything, they're catching, they're getting closer, just like we saw at a car off there. Abrahams has gone off there. That's the old hairpin, isn't it? And he's going to be getting on at a very awkward moment, but seems to be able to do so.
I think Marinero had no rear wing in all of that as well coming through, so I think there might have been some more drama. Let's take a look at what happened to Brandon Abrams. Battling here with Ryan McAuliffe, I believe, and just getting run over going into that corner. Yeah, it's easy to do. I mean, the old hairpin's incredibly high on commitment, and easy mistake to make, but a big shame there. Big shame for Brandon Abrahams, and unfortunately it's not looking so good for Guild Racing as it did last time. Remember, Gilbert's worked his way up in the 15th position. Speaking of working their way up the order, though, Josh Poulain in now to 10th position. Where's that come from?
9th even. Oh, it goes back down to P10. Lovely stuff. Huge battle here coming in towards Redgate. Cars sliding all over the place. That's about 7 cars on your screen as we come down through Hollywood and the Craner curves. This is absolutely crazy. Hopefully they're looking out, listening to their spotter. Side by side, 3 cars deep in towards the old hairpin. That's going to be number 33 there. Poulain round the outside, a little bit of contact is made.
Yeah, Harley Horton getting in a little bit too deep. Here comes the side-by-side. Matt Emery getting his way through in the Veloce Vex car, looking backwards from Josh Poulain, who now works his way to 9th position. Incredible stuff for the championship leader, showing that he knows how to get overtakes done in this car. Lucas Miller trying to work his way through. You've got the number 9 of Tobias Olsen in 12th position. Our focus here, you've got Lucas Miller right over the rear end of him, trying to fend off literally everyone else. You've got James Armstrong, you've got the Veloce Vexed car involved in all of that one. That's Tamas Simon. You've got Remy Gilbert as well. This is honestly madness. Absolute madness.
Oh, side by side in towards Roberts. Almost been a contact as Gilbert's going to have to go off the track. And one of these cars, things, Sam McAuliffe trying to come through 4 wide almost as we come down this front straight away. Oh God, these guys are really starts going a bit crazy here at Donington Park National. Awesome stuff. One car letting everyone through up the inside as huge contact with Simon as he goes a little bit slow and hits the back of him.
Yeah, I think that was Daniel Parent-Smith who was just trying to keep out of the way. But how do you keep out of the way at 4 wide? It's about the same width of this entire circuit. circuit, and all of that kind of just unfolds a little bit messily. Unfortunately, we do have a little bit of an answer to some of that, but it's not in an ideal sense. I think Mikhail's had a bit of an issue coming out of the old hairpin, going very slow, having a couple of problems with that number 71. It's been difficult. Daniel Sabula there was the driver that we were looking at for a little while. Trying to keep up with all of this is absolute madness. Aaron Vasquez and Manuel Biancalilla, who was one of the drivers that was looking to make it 4 wide on the start-finish straight, really is quite crazy. And Rachel Concoli involved in this with a slowdown, unfortunately, going through Coppice, and Concoli's going to drop backwards.
Oh, yeah, it's about 2-3 positions. Unfortunately, lost there down the back straight. Now for number 51 Machine as the battles continue on up towards Red Gate. Oh, huge contact in the car in the background. The car is going off once again. We've got the number 7 Machine's hits going off, unfortunately, once more. And of course, Fitzpatrick as well, the car on your screen. So 2 machines going side by side in towards that final chicane, I would assume, or is it going to be a big chunk of the curb as we saw previously?
Let's take a look. So you've got the move up ahead. So Benedict hits having a bit of a send from Carl Chase, just contact, and well, yeah, that happened very quickly, and that's where Sergio Fitzpatrick ended up there. Daniel Parron-Smith involved as well, just easily done, I guess, but still quite messy. Pete Berryman, Luke McEwen, Josh Ladd, Gordy Much, all still fighting for the race victory in the background. You've got Ted Bradbury, Moreno, Sirica, those two have switched fairly recently, and Matt Caruana looking to get his way back into the fight, working his way through. Ted Bradbury with the inside line, still 5th position for the Altus Esports driver.
As Caruana now gets the run on Sirica. Obviously, Sirica, when you get overtaken into that final chicane, you really lose a lot of momentum down the inside. It's going to be Bradbury giving the slipstream as well to Caruana, but Caruana can't actually make it work. Sirica around the outside of Redgate, out of nowhere, broke so much later. Does he have the momentum to go all the way around the outside of Hollywood? It's going to be very, very difficult once you get down towards the crane of curves, and once again, the outside of the old heaven, but they continue side by side. Ted Bradbury on the inside, Sirica on the outside. One of them surely has to leave some space and lift off the throttle, but no, they don't. Up towards the hill once again, Caruana getting that slipstream too.
Yeah, this is going to be dicey. It's not going to be 3 wide. Surely Matt Caruana isn't that kind of driver. We know he can be quite aggressive, but that would be crazy. Bradbury with the inside line. Moreno, Sirica remain side by side. This is definitely not conducive to good lap times. And off 3 seconds to the race leaders now as they head their way through Coppice. Inside line from Ted Bradbury. Moreno, Sirica still involved in the fight, and this is going to be Matt Caruana through as well. So making their way through. Matt Caruana through on one, maybe through on both by the time they get down towards the chicane at the Fogget. Yes, and you've got to say, if these 3 had any hope of catching the race leader, that has well and truly been thrown straight into the bin.
Yeah, they're not getting inside the top 4, but now this is the battle. This is P5 is the most that these guys are going to get realistically. Caruana 2 places in 1 lap, absolutely loving that one. Bradbury though up the inside once more as he actually makes it stick. He gets almost a full car length ahead. That's going to give Sirica the opportunity, maybe just not actually, has come downhill once more. Bradbury being pushed there by Caruana. Such close racing here at Donington Park. You can swap positions so easily, it seems, around here, but of course they're losing a lot of time to the car's head now, 4 seconds off the lead.
Yeah, you got to watch out as well for Isak Arvidsson, the Simrace Sweden esports team, who definitely have better pace than what they've shown in the results. As here comes the move then. Josh Ladd's getting to the inside of Gordy March. This is for 3rd position. The JHR by 29 esports driver is about to drop back a position. The winner of the first race of the 2023 campaign is about to be passed by Josh Ladd. Luke McEwen still holds on to 2nd position. I'll remind you, with McEwen, by the way, currently sits on -1 point in the championship after picking up a penalty point back in Brands Hatch, and obviously didn't score at all, so that sticks you into negative figures. Obviously trying to overcome that is our 2023 champion. These 2 made contact at the previous round of the season. This time though, Josh Ladd is going to work his way through into 2nd spot as Pete Berryman's checking out now over a 2nd of a lead.
And McEwen needs to help his teammate now. Not only of course he wants to finish that 2nd place by himself, but the more he battles these guys, the more time he gives Berryman to hold on in the final 11 minutes of the race so far. So about halfway through the race, and these battles, of course, continuing a bit more as Ladd is now trying to pull away just a little bit. Does he have enough speed to try and get away from both of these cars? He was sitting there in that 4th place for such a long time. Maybe saved up just a little bit of pace and a little bit of tires maybe in that car to try and push on and pull away.
I mean, yeah, at the moment, McEwen can guarantee the victory for Stormforce Racing by ART. Can absolutely guarantee it by just fighting Josh Ladd. But that will remove him from the opportunity of taking victory, right? And, you're still playing a championship game. Yes, there's the whole team thing, the whole team dynamic. That's where most of the prize money is given out and stuff. But still, you've got to think about your own championship aspirations. He's got the number 1 on the car for a reason. He knows how to win the title, and Gordy Much, I think, behind, probably won't fight too hard yet.
And one thing I like, especially on the face of Josh Ladd, look how calm and collected they are. No emotion at all, just doing the job on the track that they need to. And Ladd certainly is in a very strong position as it stands. Although actually, despite sort of having all the pressure in behind, they've caught up ever so slightly by about a tenth of a second or so onto Peter Berryman in the last lap. So they've got the speed in this car. Berryman does need to look out if they have a pretty clean battle. So as you say, all McEwen can do to help his teammate right now is start battling. But I think Ladd has a bit of pace in hand, and this four-way battle is going to continue for sure. So we've got another four-way battle in behind, so it's sort of 2 packs of 4 inside the top 8.
All 4 of these drivers, by the way, have won a race in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Of course, one of them this season, which is Gordy Much. Josh Ladd has only had 1 victory before. That was the first race of the season last season. Guess where that was? Yes, it was around here. The only venue that Josh Ladd has taken a victory at has been around the Donington Park National Circuit. Could that be a little bit of good fortune for for Josh Ladd after a difficult first round of the campaign at Brands Hatch? There might be a bit more on the horizon. We can see into the very Scottish eyes of Gordy Much. There actually can't really because he's been blinded by the light. Never mind. There was a car there. We'll ignore that too much. I did see that there was a switch position. I think Poulain and Emery switching their way around. So just Poulain now in 9th position. I'm really keeping fingers crossed for a very fortuitous reverse grid.
Yeah, he'll be a little bit sad if it's P8 on the reverse grid, but of course it's random, so I have to find out in a few moments time how that is going to look for the second race. But certainly in the first half of this first race of the evening, a very strong job from the championship leader Poulain trying to recover. The issue is that 9th place is only 2 points. That's a lot of points lost to the likes of Gordy Much, who's up there in 4th place at the moment, so definitely needs to be pushing on. Sarika there for 5th place, getting past Ted Bradbury. That battle's still going strong. Oh no! He goes too much onto the curb, slides, and he takes Bradbury with him.
That's a big shame. That is a big shame. Ted Bradbury's not been blessed with the best results in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, and now we'll look to have the same kind of difficulties. Moreno Sarika will try and rejoin the circuit, but big shame there for the pair of them. Just how sometimes it unfolds. We'll take a look at the replay. Moreno Sarika with the inside line coming down into that final chicane. Ted Bradbury with the outside. Obviously Moreno Sarika in quite hard up and onto that curb. And I did say in the Formula 1600s, you don't really want to touch those curbs. There is a good reason for it. They are really quite big.
Yeah, and it was coming in a little bit hot as well. Had to pinch the first apex slightly, so that, of course, sort of made a pendulum effect as such with the rear end of the car. Definitely didn't help that one. The car was sort of all loose and not planted at all, so unfortunately dropping down the way. That gives Matt Carana a very nice battle there with Arvidsson for that 5th place. Just a 2-way battle as it stands. Bradbury, though, of course, now wants to continue on, trying to get some of those positions back that he just lost. 11th place that's going to be as the battles continue on with Poulain losing that position back to Emery.
And obviously can still pick up a single point from getting past Remy Gilbert in that final points paying position. Matt Emery then taking the defensive line, opening up the opportunity now as he moves back over to the left hand side of the circuit for Josh Poulain to work his way through. Lucas Muller also going to come through for Dur Esports. The Veloce Vex car might get hung out to dry as they head their way down towards the old hairpin once again. Poulain with the inside line, very risky to try and hang it around the outside there, certainly done so, and plenty of space given. So great racing between these two as Lucas Muller's going to try and make it 3 wide. This is not the place to do that up towards Starkeys and McLean's.
Oh yeah, Muller's just got to sit in behind us, Poulain up the inside. Oh, that was so close. Muller might be able to get a run here. Round the outside, he's going to be up towards Curve. There's a double overtake around the outside. Well, that would be something a little bit uncommon. It might just be one, though, and he sure does potentially get Poulain as he's going to have to slipstream also down this back straight just to hold on to that. So Poulain, unfortunately, that's 2 places lost in this previous lap, as now Muller needs to go to the outside. We've seen what's happened around there. Shortly's got to back out of that one. The issue is he's going to lose the momentum onto the front straight now, so this track really ebbs and flows, all momentum based, as I was saying in the pre-show.
Got to remember, Freem UK, they're the team's championship leaders. Josh Poulain is the driver's championship leader. That will most certainly be switching after this race, but just about by how much. Ted Bradbury, by the way, I think has got damage on the car and is dropping backwards. Now 12th position behind James Armstrong. No surprise to see damage on that car, by the way. But do remember, he went from 29th to 6th in the reverse grid race at Brands Hatch. So who knows? Who can count out Ted Bradbury? I think that would be a very unwise thing to count them up. You can see where the teams are on the left side on the tower, and you can see at the moment it's looking really good for teams like Stormforce Racing by ART. They're holding first and 3rd in this, and for the free team that's leading the championship, just 8th and 11th at the moment. Sorry, 9th and 11th, I'll correct myself.
Yeah, 9th and 11th, even worse. And we'll have to see how this one continues, of course, because these battles are so strong. We're into the final 5 minutes now of the race and the final few laps, and therefore some even more aggressive driving should be coming your way. There is, of course, this 4-way battle that we've been following. Emery, Muller, Poulain and Gilbert all fighting to get inside that top 7. And the further they get up, the more likely they are to have a nice reverse grid slot. It's coming into the pit lane. There's Horton, Harley Horton, in the number 20 machine for Pure Sims, having a few issues. Or is that?
Yeah, bent front wing.
Drive-through penalty. Yeah, actually no, it shouldn't. Yeah. Repairs front.
Yeah, there's a bent front wing on the left side, so there are issues there. Here is the battle. Isaac Arvidsson trying to get past Matt Caruana. Arvidsson did score points in the previous round of the season with 8th place in the reverse grid race. And of course, Matt Caruana certainly had his issues. Matt Emery and Lucas Muller will switch positions. At the lead, by the way, I think there's been a bit of a look from Luke McEwen on Josh Ladd, because that gap was half a second the last time I checked. It now goes out to 1.3. Unless there's been a mistake from Josh Ladd. It's given Pete Berryman a bit more breathing room as he's looking for his 5th victory in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, and they're going to try and make it a 1-2 as Luke McEwen's going to try and work his way past.
So certainly is. Ladd really being aggressive with the moving over to the left as soon as McEwen gave the opportunity. Trying to get down the inside, trying to find a way. The issue is, this is a 3-way battle. Got to look out for Gordy Much coming in that 3rd place machine of this battle as Ladd holds on once more. McEwen does seem to have the speed at this point of the race. He's really starting to come back at Ladd. In the first couple of laps after Ladd got that position, he did look pretty comfortable. They were, as you say, we're catching down Pete Berryman, but now McEwen is coming back and really starting to battle, maybe to help his teammate, but also just himself wants to get that position. He's looking very calm. Is Josh Ladd still at the left-hand picture, and on the right is McEwen. Still looks calm as well. Just needs to try and find his way past.
Yeah, I mean, when I see these two race, do you reckon these two like each other? Because the way I see them race, I don't think they like each other, Cam. I don't know. They're battling for the 2022 title. Maybe put a bit of an end to that. But these two, the way they race so hard. They race on the limit. And again, remember, last round, they did make quite a substantial amount of contact in the first corner.
Oh, they certainly did. McEwen tried to absolutely send it down the inside, but this time it goes to the outside at Redgate, and that is going to give the opportunity once again to Gordy Much to try and get overlap, but he hasn't been able to do so. Side by side, they come downhill through the crane of curbs. He's got McEwen in the yellow machine on the outside. Can he go round the outside into the old hairpin? No, he backs out to that one. He's going to get the up and under, try and get the momentum as we come back up the hill. The
spatial awareness, though, to know exactly where that front wing was. Perfect stuff from McEwen. Gordy Much trying to assist the matter and push his sister teammate up the hill to the inside into McLean's, and that's being taken. McEwen makes the Stormforce Apex Racing team 1-2 at the moment as the JHR by 29 Esports cars trying to get himself involved in the mix. Josh Ladd is going to hang on to 3rd position at the moment. It's going to be out onto the backstretch with 3 wide. The squeeze coming out though. Gordy Much trying to work his way through. Going to try and pass. There's a bit of a squeeze though. You've got to know it's 3 wide at the moment as Josh Ladd's trying to hang on around the outside. Luke McEwen's the one that backs out. Gordy Much is in too deep. He's slapped over the curb, and that'll be Josh Ladd back into 2nd position. Luke McEwen into 3rd, and somehow they all come through it alive though. That's the important bit.
It's certainly, but it's really spread out that battle. Ladd's got over a 2nd advantage. McEwen, unfortunately, being in the middle, he just had to back out of that one. Otherwise, he was going to get pincered into that braking zone. So it's the safest option. The issue is, as we said, Ladd has got such a gap now, and potentially that is going to be a confirmed sort of top 3 in the order. But I have to see how obviously the race continues with still a couple of laps to go. So that leaves Gordy Much in that 4th place, just about alive, but he's got Caruana coming in behind. Lucas Muller also making some moves in the background, but let's see this once more.
Now we've seen this, we saw basically a similar variant of this in the Formula 1600s. We see it once again. Watch Gordy Much in with quite a tight line, middle of the road, just too deep. Bit of a lock up on the front right as he tries to arrest the car and pull it over. And Josh Ladd just, brave, read it brilliantly. McEwen backed out at the wrong time. And bish bash bosh, Josh Ladd has 2nd place and is cleared off down the road. 3.3 seconds though. Further ahead of that will be Pete Berryman starting the final lap of the race here in the first race at Donington Park.
Oh, absolutely strong result for the number 50 machine, and he's going to be loving that one. He was in such tight battles back at Brands, and unfortunately, especially in that first race, got tagged and had to finish in P9 that time round. So for the first race of the evening, getting a race victory, as long as he can come around the final couple of miles, then he's going to be absolutely loving that one. McAuliffe coming down the pit lane for Kimura.
Yeah, big shame there for McAuliffe. Like I said, I did say here himself and Matt Caruana took victory in the Motorsport UK GT Challenge, which was on Sunday, if I remember correctly, maybe Saturday. Again, my brain, I think it was on Saturday. In a couple of hour race around there in GTs, they took victory in that one. So fantastic from them. Unfortunately, not quite the same occasion here, although Matt Caruana comfortably inside that top 10. For Pete Berryman, though, coming down into that final chicane. It's not going to be quite enough for him to take over the championship lead. I think it might be very close. It might even be enough for him to do so. But what it will be is a 5th victory in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship for Pete Berryman for last year, and the first of the 2023 campaign. 3.4 seconds clear of Josh Ladd, and then series champion onto the podium for the first time this season. Look at everyone across the line behind. Matt Emery with a slowdown penalty. Remy Gilbert and Josh Poulain working their way through into 8th and 9th. That's 2 drivers that are up there in the championship, and they gain a little bit from that. It will help with the spinny wheel.
Well, it certainly will. There was just 1.5 tenths covering those 3 drivers of Gilbert, Poulain and Emery towards the line. We've got drivers coming down the pit lane as some of the others can complete their race, the first race of the evening for the F4 Esports Championship. Absolutely loving the racing around here. And to be honest, let's see what we're going to get for the reverse grid for the second race of the night.
Yep, certainly so. We'll see what the number is, where the reverse grid is going to lie. We had a fantastic reverse grid race last time. What are we getting this time? I think it's going to be a 6. It is going to be a 6. It was 8 last time. It is 6 this time. So that's going to be interesting, Cam.
Yeah, certainly is. And as we're saying, for Josh Poulain, from basically the back of the grid, he's going to be a little bit disappointed that it's a low number because he is not going to be getting that place. So yes, 6th place means he'll be Arvidsson on pole.
Yeah, a couple of positions away from it being good for Remy Gilbert and, of course, Josh Poulain. But it's Pete Berryman with the victory. He'll drop back now into 6th place. Josh Ladd, Luke McEwen, Gordy Much, Matt Caruana and Ezek Arvidsson will be the drivers that switch. Those all separated by 5 seconds in the race. Big gap back to Lucas Miller, Remy Gilbert and, of course, Josh Poulain, Matt Emery rounding out the top 10. Exciting race, of course. Fastest up there being set by Gordy Much, so bonus point will go their way. James Armstrong in 11th with Ted Bradbury, Duncan Hoffland, Tamas Simon, Moreno Sarica, Tobias Olsen with Daniel Sabula, Brandon Abrahams, and of course Stanley Deslandis and Carl Chase, those behind. It's dramatic when you see races like that, but it was pretty calm for our race leader. We believe, by the way, Daniel Sabula will drop back a little bit courtesy of some in-race infringement, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. What we do know is those 6 drivers are going to get reverse cam. We're in for another treat as we see the final finishes and some of those retirements. There were a few, but not as many as we saw at Brands Hatch.
Yeah, I'm loving this series so far. The racing has been awesome, and I mean, just that 3-wide moment in towards the final corner with Ladd McEwen and Gordy Much as well. That's just the pinnacle of the racing. Such close fights up for the top positions, and yeah, some of the the best races on iRacing as well coming out to play. So really enjoying this one, and hopefully the reverse grid race could be a lot more action. Of course, 2 races to come this evening.
Certainly so. Well, let's have a little bit of a catch-up with some of our drivers. And first off, should have to be our race winner with Pete Berryman, who joins us now in the commentary booth. Pete, what did you make of that race? You were... I don't want to say it, too much, but you looked like you had a bit of an easier run in that one. Your teammates were fighting with Josh Ladd behind.
Yeah, I think qualifying really essentially got me the win. My qualifying lap was mega, so yeah, that basically was put me at the front and give me sort of control of everything. Obviously, a bit more difficult for the teammates behind. So yeah, nothing really special I done there. It was more just Luke protecting me, essentially making sure that I could get away when I did. And yeah, it was a bit of a time child, really, sort of driving laps on my own at the front.
Yeah, now we didn't race Brands Indy last season, so obviously that was new for us this season. But Donington Park, we did race that last season. Did you go back and kind of check out some of the things that you were doing there, maybe to find some tricks, or was it all basically just starting fresh this time?
No, we definitely went back and looked. We were quite weak last year here, and we definitely wanted to fix that. And I think we have done. I think the qualifying and the race shows that. So yeah, we definitely, every race we go back and look at stuff and try to find little tweaks and things that we can improve on. So yeah, that definitely helped this time round.
Now you'll be starting the reverse grid race from 6th. What do you think the main difficulties are going to be from there? Is it quite a difficult track to overtake at? Is it an easy one? How's this car going to find its way through?
Overtaking is difficult, but getting opportunities to overtake is not difficult. So it's quite easy to get side by side, but actually getting the move done requires a lot of risk in these corners. So I think the main goal for me really is just finish 6th or above. I don't want to drop further back than 6th, sort of just consolidate the points that we've got already. So hopefully not break any wings, not break mine or anybody else's, and just try and pick up as many points as I can.
What's your 5th win of your British F4 esports career, first of the season? Cheers, Pete, and good luck in the next one.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you.
There we go, Pete Berryman. Of course, now the most, I hate saying it, but it is the winningest driver in British Formula 4 esports. So we'll go with that and we'll keep the stat. We'll hopefully get in Josh Ladd as well, of course, coming out 2nd place in that race. Josh, talk us through it. One that looked like an insanely difficult battle, that 3 wide down towards the chicane with a few laps to go. That was scary.
Yeah, it was. Well, I knew Luke would probably back out being in the middle. And then I planned to just get an exit on Gordon, but he went off. So yeah.
How difficult is it, fighting, with all those after what was a difficult start to the season? We didn't really get to talk to you about what happened back in Brands Hatch. Have you calmed down? Is that all sorted and behind you? Are you just eyes focused on the current race?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously frustrating in the last race, but what can you do? It wasn't my fault, so. It's what it is. But yeah, I mean, this track is obviously very different to Brands, with just the draft and everything. And to be honest, when I was in 4th behind Gordy and Luke, I thought it was pretty over because they're obviously all in the same team. So, they could have just gone 3 wide and blocked a track. But luckily, the opportunities presented themselves and I managed to make most of it.
What do you think's possible in the reverse grid race? You've got the pace to win around here. We've seen it before last season. Is that definitely on the cards?
For sure. I mean, the pace looked good. I was catching Pete at the end there, but obviously we got into a battle. But the reverse grid is the same as always in F4. It's going to be a bit of a wild ride for sure.
Well, we'll let you calm down before we get into that crazy action. Cheers, Josh.
Cheers.
And before we get into the Formula 1600 race, I think we should be joined by Luke McEwen, of course, our series champion of 2022. A driver who had a big struggle to the start of the 2023 season, but finally gets a podium onto the board after just 3 races. I say finally as if it's been like 1,000 years since we've seen you in here. Luke, talk us through that race. I mean, like I say, a bit dicey there. We just had a bit of a chat with Josh Ladd. Again, talking about that 3 wide move and how you kind of backed out of it. When you're in that kind of fight, even despite the start of the season that you've had, are you still thinking title?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, like every race you're going into, you're always thinking, how can you get closer to winning the title, basically, even in round 1, round 2. So that's obviously the main goal. But obviously, winning the team's champ is obviously pretty big with Pete. He got an insane quali lap in and an insane race. Basically, just drove away. Yeah, it would have been nice to get a 1-2, but just got a bit loose out of coppice. There's just bad mistake on my end. We ended up 3 wide. Yeah, but still happy with P3 after how race 1 went last week. So yeah.
Does any of how last week went? Does that weigh on your mind now, or have you moved on from that? Are you again just focused on the here and now?
Yeah, like obviously it dwelled on me for a few days, but like you just gotta get on with it. Forget about it. You can't change what happened. Obviously it affects it a little bit, but yeah, we're just getting the best results we can from now, and title is still a possibility. So yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit as well to prepare yourself. But we were kind of wondering through the race. You and Josh, obviously, you fought for the championship last season. You had that instant back in Brands Hatch, and there was some dicey racing in there. Do you two get along, or do you two like not talk to each other? Just obviously, just rivals in this. Is there a bit of bitterness between you, or is it kind of a happy rivalry?
Don't really have any bitterness towards it, to be honest. It's just another driver on the track, to be honest. Obviously, we know he's quick, and we want to beat him at every race, but yeah, no bitterness, just just another driver basically.
Shame. I wanted to hear some big drama. But anyway, Luke, we'll let you go and prepare for the second race. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers.
And there we go, Cam. No big drama. Disappointing, isn't it?
Shame. We wanted wanted some arguments there, but look, I mean, obviously, you know, professional answers for both drivers there, as you would expect. But yeah, certainly they end up on the the same part of the track quite frequently, and therefore you do have some battles. And effectively, what you want is to have some nice respect there between the two. Even if you're not necessarily friends, you still have to battle nicely. And they didn't really make contact in that race, so yeah, it looks like it's going to be all good for the remainder of the season.
We're just in warm-up, by the way, getting ready for the second race in the Formula 1600. Cam, who was your least favourite person to race against? It's time to throw them under the bus. That's just so brutal.
I was going to say, that is big on. I mean, I can't name names, but there's some people out there who, when you come up behind them and you're just like, this is going to be hard work. Not because you're slower than them and you're really struggling to get past. It's because you're faster, but they're just going to make life so difficult for you. There's definitely a few ones out there, and look, that's racing, and in some ways it's actually the fun of racing when you have those people that you always come across on track.
Jeff Fournier, Chris Shepherd. No, to be fair, I get along with them quite well now. That's the only reason why I say it on broadcast.
I was going to say, I know another couple of people who you might want to say.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ewan O'Leary, can't stand him.
Yeah,
no, I think there's always something good about a little bit of a rivalry. It gives you that little bit of an extra get in there when you beat them, even if it's just only for 10th place. You don't really care. It's because you finished ahead of that person. That's the more important bit. That's what I was kind of looking for. But no, it's fine, whatever. Each their own. We've not got that between Josh Ladd and Luke McEwen. I wonder if we have that between any of the drivers on this grid. Let's remind you of at least of the podium finishes from the previous race that was on earlier on. If you didn't join us, Henry Moore took the victory in the Formula 1600 the first race by 0.7 of a second over Adam Tompkins, who did lead going on to that final lap of the race before dropping back courtesy of a mistake in the final chicane. Zero Zambra also beat out Jason Cooper for the final spot on the podium. But I think we are in for an exciting one in this. Let's go with that.
I definitely think it's going to be a good one. Of course, when you've got the reverse grid, what you generally have is, fair enough, we don't have the sort of the biggest reverse grid in the world, but what you do have is those faster drivers sort of bunching up towards the front by a few tenths. So I'm hoping to see a nice little battle at the front.
Certainly so. I think we will get it. Of course, the reverse grid was 7 from the previous race. So, not when it's between 5 and 10, it's basically bang on the middle of where it can possibly be. We'll be heading into this race then with Henry Moore starting from that 7th position and having to do a lot of work to fight their way back up to the front. All 23 drivers, though, will take to the grid. Only one of them can come out on top. Daniel Caulfield will start the one from pole position with Matthew Crisp. Brandon Loudon and Jason Cooper starting on row 2 with Zero Zambra getting onto the podium ahead of Adam Tompkins and Henry Moore in 7th position, race winner earlier on. William Hope will start from 8th with Jordan Groves, Ed Hope, Cameron Knowles and Jack Badger starting from 12th. Dan and Moore came to this one as joint championship leader. Will start this one from 13th after a difficult start to the evening. Oliver Ettridge and then Stefanovski. Of course, Isaac Phelps, who was involved in the crash, Aaron Mensah and Connor Scudell in 18th place. Martin Vilk, Owen Whittle, Ronnie Smith, Simon Ball and Matt Farquhar starting from the rear of the field. The 23 drivers taking to the grid. Cam, who's winning?
Zambra.
Ooh, bold. 5th place. I am going to go Henry Moore. Do you know what? Why not? 7th place. We'll take a look. We've got 15 minutes under the clock. Daniel Caulfield starting this one from pole position. And there's a stall on the grid from Crisp. Stationary, not able to get going. It's a good one, though, from Caulfield. Big draw already on the race start. And that is a huge, huge shame for Matthew Crisp, who dropped right the way to the rear of the field. Zero Zambra trying to get straight around the outside of Brandon Loudon at the first corner. As they head their way down the hill, Jason Cooper's on the attack. He wants a victory.
He certainly does, as we're going 2 by 2 down the hill in towards the old hairpin. Round the outside from Cooper is going to have to be Zambra gets up into that 3rd place, completes that move from Loudon, who drops down to 4th place with more coming in behind as Cooper is going to go up towards the outside as Zambra is trying to follow him through. Round the outside is going to be on Daniel Caulfield, up the inside into McLean's. Can they go? Yes, they can. Over them, just about squeeze through. Maybe he can hold on the outside.
Look at Henry Moore as well, straight around the outside of Brandon Loudon. That's for 4th position in that blue car, the number 41, straight around the outside now onto the rear end of Daniel Caulfield. Jason Cooper into victory position, but of course we're 40 minutes away from that checkered flag coming out, so we've got a long time to fend off. He did get involved in a fight with Henry Moore back in Brands Hatch. Obviously, great recovery drives from the pair of them. The two did start from the front row of the grid at Brands Hatch after dropping back down the order for Jason Cooper. Came back into a well-deserved 2nd position in the second race. What will be the occasion here? 3 wide in the background. Dana Moore in the middle, trying to work his way up the order. Ed Hope and Will Hope 1 way each way around each other. And 8th place Dana Moore is going to get to.
Oh, what an opening lap. There's so many battles as we come downhill once more. We continue some side-by-side just in the back of that. As Jack Badger trying to make some moves as we come down the hill in towards the old hairpin once more. That's a tight line up the inside there. There's going to be a thing as Phelps just getting past Ed Hope there as we come up the hill once more. There's even more cars getting involved. Knowles is trying to get his name into the house, but all slow down there from the pole position driver. Cofield is dropping all the way down P13.
Whoa, and there's a bit of a crash there. That's one of the Hopes. I think it might be both of them actually involved in all of them. Ed Hope and Will Hope both dropping down the order. They would have hoped for a better race. I'm sorry, I just had to, but that is a big shame for them going into McLean's. Will Hope still going. Isaac Phelps has come through and all of that, but a big shame there.
Yeah, that is not what you want to see, especially a couple of family relatives there. That's going to be a bit of a slower exit out of the chicane, as we're going to see potentially some moves from Knowles. They're coming down the hill. Oh, more cars off in the background there. A couple of cars going for issues.
Yeah, that's always going to hurt things. Ettridge, the one there. Henry Moore, by the way, up into 2nd position. Outside line being taken from Cameron Knowles. William Hope with the inside line as they head their way through Redgate. They'll go side by side down into the Craner curves. William Hope with the advantage heading into the old hairpin. You have to be pretty brave to send it around there. Martin Vilk as well will rejoin this fight after big dramas in the previous race. It's really struggled to the season for Martin Vilk. Let's take a look at this stall on the race start though. How scary is this?
I can't believe everyone managed to get past. Often when you see this, when a car doesn't move,
looks getting hit.
It doesn't at all. But everyone in behind just about going for it. What do you think would have happened there? Maybe just not getting the clutch engaged in some way. Definitely an interesting one.
I was going to say, well, when you're revving that highly, it's very hard to get the clutch engaged. And so if you weren't already, like a lot of drivers will get into 1st gear straight away, and then but clearly once you've done that, once you're revving high, you're like slamming the upshift, being like please, 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 and it never does. There is the slowdown from Caulfield. This is what happened to Ed Hope. Just into the rear end, so big shame for Ed Hope.
It's easily done though when everyone is so close at the beginning of the race. You really have to be on it. Everyone, maybe still just trying to work out their braking zones at this point. But back to the front, we've got Cooper leading the way. Moore's got up into 2nd place ahead of Zambra as obviously this top 3 is starting to pull away just a little bit. And to be honest, these are some of the top 3 drivers we've seen in the competition so far, and they're really putting on a show. We're still over 10 minutes left in this race. They're really going to have a hard battle there. Just in behind, we've got Tompkins and Loudon rounding out the top 5. Yeah, and if
Adam Tompkins does join this, we'll have the same top 4 fighting over the same 4 positions in race 1 as they are in race 2. We'll have to wait and see if Tompkins can indeed do that. Certainly has got the speeds to do so, and probably a bit more knowledge on the racecraft. Bearing in mind what happened in the previous race. Here comes Henry Moore then for the race lead. Down the inside they'll go. Jason Cooper then dropping back into 2nd spot. You can see there on the left of the webcams at the bottom. Ciro Zambra will hold 3rd position. They'll head their way up towards Redgate once again. 10 minutes left on the clock. This battle is certainly not done, and will not be probably for another 10 minutes, to be honest.
Definitely not, but what could we say about Henry Moore today? Got pole by a huge jump, and is really just so fast in this car already in the opening. What's this, the 4th race of the season so far, really putting his name down for to be a contender for this championship. Cooper and Zambra now need to battle over this 2nd place. There's Zambra on the screen, bottom right hand of your screen. He looks, we saw Josh Ladd in the previous race, look very calm. He looks a lot more serious and a lot more assertive with his sort of inputs to the wheel.
Yeah, also leaning a little bit forward, really getting involved, going all Marc Marquez. Maybe he'll be jumping onto a Gresini Ducati next season. We'll have to wait and see. At the moment, though, just eyes focused on taking a victory in this one. Ciro Zambra sat over the rear end of Jason Cooper. Henry Moore with the race lead. Adam Tompkins not with the pace to catch up to the trio at the moment that are running 1st, 2nd and 3rd, separated by just 0.2 of a second, all 3 of them.
It's so difficult to do what Zambra just did there, lifting off and trying to find a brake zone. Very difficult. We've got a 5-car battle coming down in towards the final corner as Will Hope there up the inside of the Farquhar. The Farquhar from the back of the grid, remember, he's up inside the top 10. There's Jack Badger on the exit, and also Crisp, who had the stall and almost dislocation a few laps ago. Now 3 wide has come down the inside as well in towards Redgate once again. Actually, Crisp managed to make that not 3 wide situation. Badger there getting past the Farquhar, and also Knowles trying to get involved on the action.
Can we just go back to Matt Crisp? You said stalled on the start, was 23rd into Redgate on the 1st lap of this race. Now in 10th position, literally 6 and a bit minutes later. That is crazy. That is absolutely insane. Great stuff from Matthew Crisp.
Awesome, and I guess it just shows just slightly away, away with this series as well. Everyone is so close together that you can't make those positions back if you've got some speed and racecraft about you, especially on the opening couple laps where they're sort of, everyone's going all over the place. If you're sort of a little bit more calm about it, you can find those gaps to slide up the inside. And to be honest, he's still got maybe a Vilk up ahead of him if he can try and get past. First of all, it's going to be Will Hope down the inside in towards the final chicane. Potentially he's going to go side by side. It looks like he's going to be able to have that position, but we've seen a lot of drivers actually struggling with the braking point when they got up the inside. You sort of lose your references a bit, but he makes that move.
Yeah, and so Chris moves into 9th position. Martin Vilk's not too far down the road. Maybe just getting the final little whiff of slipstream, but if this group start battling, that whiff is absolutely gone, and this will start battling. The look to the inside there from William Hope. Cameron Knowles straight around the outside. Mac Farquhar on the inside, taking over 12th position as they begin their race down the hill. We're now halfway through the 2nd race of the evening, the Formula 1600s. Henry Moore taking the race lead as he took the race victory in the previous one. Jason Cooper, Ciro Zambra, Adam Tompkins, Brandon Loudon currently running in that 5th position. Great start as well from Dan and Moore to move into 6th place after what has been a very difficult evening thus far for the driver who came into this as joint championship leader. When the driver that he was joint championship lead with, if he takes the clean sweep of the evening, you're looking at this being like, brilliant. How do I come back from this?
Yeah, that's going to be a very, very difficult one as well, especially with how the point system works. 25 for the win, down to 1 point for 10th place. And as it stands, 25 points going to Henry Moore, but still plenty of laps left in this race for Cooper and Zambra to try and find a way past. But what we see, it seems to be in these races so far, Henry Moore just loves sitting out in the front. He doesn't want to be 3rd place or 2nd place in the train. He wants to be out front controlling. Side by side down the straight, is that going to be a Moore losing a place? Yes, it is. Phelps around the outside.
Yeah. Obviously, maybe just playing things a little bit wiser there. Isaac Phelps was in. Isaac Phelps is a plenty fast enough driver, of course, is one that came into the sitting inside the top 5 in the championship, so might well have the pace to catch down on Loudon and Tompkins as well. That's what their priority needs to be. Getting 4th position, although since we look back at this fight for 9th, Jack Badger, Matthew Crisp, William Hope, Mac Farquhar and Cameron Knowles, all 5 of these fighting over this position. There's the inside move from William Hope for the final points pay position. The up and under brilliantly executed there from Matthew Crisp as we head back up the hill.
Certainly do once more, and it's going to be around the outside there in the background as well from Farquhar, trying to get up the inside of Will Hope, and I think he's made it stick. Yes, he has slid up the inside there nicely. Will Hope's going to come back up towards his corner now, and actually he's on the up and under very nicely there. He's going to have the position back as Knowles just watches on in the background, so he's trying to find a space to get up the inside and use a bit of slipstream maybe to get, oh no, we're not going to see a 3-wide situation. No, we're not. They're going to just back out of that one. Farquhar on the outside, but Will Hope on the inside. And now Knowles trying to find his position. Down the inside is going to be, no, just has to back out of that one.
Yeah, this is, like I say, when it's when it's like that, when you've got side by side ahead of you, it's so easy to cause a bit of an incident with a bit of miscommunication. We actually, saw that well executed from Josh Poulain in the first round at the championship. Obviously, in that very first race of the season, where he made that 3-wide pass in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship going into Paddock Hill. Those times where you make it 3-wide, you're kind of like the third one joining the fight. It's so easy to just cause a crash. In doing so, you've got to expect those two other drivers that you're fighting with, those side by side, they're going to be much slower. You have to kind of back out. We've really seen it in both British Formula 4 Esports and the Formula 1600 races that we've seen thus far this evening. And yeah, it's easy to cause those kinds of incidents. Thankfully, it was well read there from Cameron Knowles to not get into William Hope and Mac Farquhar. We look back at the race lead though. 4/10 separates the top three. More Cooper Zambra, as it was earlier, as we've seen all of these drivers on the podium this season thus far, including a couple of them tonight.
Yeah, they're looking very strong for the championship as it progresses very quickly already onto the fourth race of the season. There's Henry Moore down the inside, the left-hand side, and then Cooper on the right-hand side of the screen using that sequential shifter, as a couple of drivers are doing in this championship. Definitely, actually, no, is he more of a H pattern?
This is a H pattern.
Yeah, he's H pattern. So we've got sequential shift, H pattern, and of course the normal paddle shifters for the majority of the field. So great stuff to see there. It seems to be working out well for him. He's been very fast so far in this championship. Henry Moore still looking calm, leading so far.
Do you know what I want to see now? I want to see if there's... I want pedal cam next time from Jason Cooper, only to see if there's a cheeky little bit of heel toe going on, which I'm sure most of this grid, considering the age, will have absolutely no idea what heel toe is. But when you get it right, it's sick. I had to learn doing laps on a different simulator around the Nordschleife in the Toyota GT86 just to prove that I could do heel toe. When you get it right, whew, it's good. It is good.
Yeah, certainly is. As he obviously has to back down. Just want to see on the screen, there's that second gear there coming through the final chicane, then up to third and surely fourth gear. Down this front straightaway. There's a lot more to think about as well. Obviously, taking your hand off the wheel. There's a reason why back in the 90s now, the paddle shifters started coming out and the pneumatic stuff, because it just keeps your hands on the wheel. Always you've got Will Hope off the track there through the final chicane, and I wonder if someone else was involved, because he was in a big battle at the time. So let's see how that one works. Is that his teammate Ed Hope just passed him in towards the final chicane now. 3 cars battling in towards the braking zone. Crisp up the inside. Just goes in way too deep and makes contact.
No, it was Crisp. It was William Hope down the inside. Crisp was the one coming through. Mac Farquhar was the one that went over the top. Thankfully, we're in sim racing, but that was not a pretty incident. Like you say, it's a bit aggressive there from William Hope going into the final chicane. Easily done, but like you said, that's exactly what we were talking about when it comes to those battles. When you've got 2 or 3 cars in it, and the train, the concertina effect comes into it, you've got to know how to back out. Now, we're going on to the penultimate lap of this race. Zero Zambra has been bitten by Henry Moore this season. Jason Cooper has been bitten by Henry Moore this season. Will they come out on top on this occasion? Just 2 more laps around Donington Park National for one of those to take over the reins of the victory from the number 41 that's been holding on to it for quite a while in this race.
And we know Zambra likes the last lap overtake, so surely it is coming. Once again, it just needs to find the right time to do it. But the issue for Zambra now is he's got 2 cars to overtake on the final lap. That's probably going to be too much. So a move surely needs to be made this time around. Up the hill, he's getting very close. Cooper not right on the back bumper there. No, not really a bumper on these cars. Up towards McLean's once more. Is there going to be a move up the inside? A slight dive? No, there's going to be a look to the inside from Cooper, but not enough or anything to make some moves.
Well, this 3 surely are not going to cross the line in the same way that they are right now. Someone's got to go for something as Ronnie Smith gets past Matthew Crisp, who I believe is fairly damaged after that incident from earlier. Zero Zambra is going to look to the inside, but the slipstream is being taken by Jason Cooper. He's the one that needs to instigate some form of move here, but we've been riding on board with Jason Cooper a few times in the final chicane. He's definitely lifting out of it, waiting for his opportunity. So it's going to come on the final lap of this race then. 30 seconds left to go. They'll come across the line. The white flag will be out. The penultimate lap is over. The final lap begins, and Henry Moore is going to lead by a tenth and a bit of a second over Jason Cooper. Zero Zambra also in tow. Henry Moore looking to take the clean sweep of the evening.
two really good opportunities into McLean's, then into the final chicane. Which one is it going to be? Or maybe both for the likes of Zero Jamba as they come down the hill, through the crater curves up the inside. No, this is not the place. You want to get the run, you want to get the momentum as we come back up the hill in towards the next braking zone.
Up the hill they go. There are switches galore behind. Danamore and Isaac Phelps will switch over, with Danamore taking over that 6th position. Jason Cooper's close. There's got to be the opportunity. The only one that's going to be left, though, Cam, is that final chicane. We've seen the attempts going into it. We've seen a couple of them not come out too well. Adam Tompkins in the previous race.
There's got to be a move here by someone. I don't think Henry Moore's going to have an easy time as you come down the back straight. Is there going to be a double slipstream from Zambra? This is going to be so difficult. Moore comes to the inside for one final time.
Let's see then. They go down. The train pulls over to the right-hand side. Henry Moore's expecting the attempt. Zero Zambra's going to try and make it 3 wide. Backs out of that one. Jason Cooper's not going to do it. It's going to be a perfect final chicane. It is indeed by Henry Moore. And there's a spin, though, from Jason Cooper. He's going to drop back to 3rd, 4th, 5th maybe. But Henry Moore is going to take the clean sweep here at Donington Park. A 3rd victory of the season, a 2nd of the evening, and the championship leader is starting to run away. Zero Zambra goes from 3rd to 2nd. But what happened in all of that, Cam? Was that an innocent mistake from Jason Cooper who comes across the line in 5th? Or was it Zero Zambra making a little bit of contact to the rear end?
To be honest, I was looking at the front of Zambra's car the whole way through that sequence, and he did make contact on the rear. Was it him sort of being a bit impatient on the throttle or something like that? With, potentially have to take a replay to see that one, but definitely look at how close Zambra was as we came through this first apex.
Yeah, looking at it from above. Yeah, definitely Zero Zambra's into the rear end of Jason Cooper, and I don't know, Cam. It is tough going through there, but that, for me, is a little bit more on the shoulders of Zero Zambra. You've got to expect that car, the car can't just disappear and you can't just drive straight into the back of it.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe penalties coming his way, because also when you're the car behind, is 99% it is your fault, because you've got to react to what's happening in front. And if the car slightly slows down and you're coming in even faster, then yeah, it's going to be your fault potentially. So Zambra might be losing that 2nd place, which just adds to Henry Moore's championship lead that he's going to have after this round.
Yeah, if not, we'll pick up some penalty points post-round. We'll discuss that in a few moments' time. But Henry Moore has taken a 2nd victory of the evening and 3rd of the season. Zero Zambra and Adam Tompkins join on the podium after a fantastic display. Brandon Loudon will take 4th position, with Jason Cooper dropping back to 5th on the final lap of the race. Danamore with a fantastic drive up to 6th place, with Isaac Phelps, Martin Vilk, Jack Badger and Cameron Knowles rounding out the top 10 and the points scorers from this race. It's been a tough one. Mac McFarquhar in 11th place, Owen Whittle, Ed Hope. Obviously big dramas for those through the race. Ronnie Smith and William Hope, obviously those are all kind of having their own issues, ended up in gravel traps. Aaron Mensah, Connor Scudell, Matthew Crisp, big shame for him, stalling the race starter from 2nd place, managed to work his way back up before dropping back down. Oliver Ettridge and Jordan Groves, the first of the retirements on the list. Big shame for some, less so for others. Of course, Daniel Coffield started the reverse grid from pole position, with Paula Stepanovsky also retirements from this race. Zero Zambra taking the fastest lap of the race, and of course 2nd place in it. But they all came up short of Henry Moore, who I'm sure we'll grab a quick interview with before we get into the final British Formula 4 esports race of the evening. Henry Moore on top here. Both races, clean sweep at Donington Park. Got to be on quite a high after that one. It was a pretty solid race. A lot of defence in there.
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
How does that feel like, knowing that really right now all fingers are pointing to you, all targets are surely on your back? Are you okay with that? Knowing that you're the fastest driver in this championship and the favourite for it?
I don't know about fastest yet. I mean, I've had 2 tracks that have suited me quite well, so we'll see how it goes moving on. But I've had the target on my back for these last 2 races now, so I'm happy with both wins. But yeah, I don't really know what to say. I didn't think I would win that.
With you saying then that these 2 circuits favour you and your driving style, is there a circuit coming up? Obviously, we've got 6 more rounds left to go. Is there a circuit which you're concerned about then? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting.
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't really driven Snetterton too much, but going into Donington, I'd only done 1 race here in the past and not like any laps until I started practicing. So yeah, we'll see.
Do you kind of pay attention to other drivers that are around you in the championship? Obviously, Dana Moore was the joint championship leader coming into this with you. Had a bit of a struggle this round, a bit further down the order. Do you pay attention to that, or is it just whoever you're battling with in the race, that's just the target for now?
Well, obviously the championship's the most important, but you got to battle who's on track with you. Doesn't matter whether they're in the championship, if they're in front of you or behind you. You just have to try and beat them. So that was my main goal coming into this, and I've done it. So I'm happy.
Well, have a happy evening, and obviously we'll see you in a week's time when we go racing next time. But a great effort once again there, Henry. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
There we go. The clean sweep of the evening, the first one of the season. Whether we'll see more throughout the 2023 championship, we'll have to wait and see. I'm pretty sure the answer to the question is probably. We'll be joined as well by, I think, Zero Zambra, obviously finished in second position in that race. We want to get a quick chat with you, Zero, about the that final chicane. Thoughts on it? Was there a little bit of contact between you and Jason? How did that one feel?
Yeah, I mean, it was close racing through the whole race, and it was just the pressure was building up, and last chicane came. I thought, well, maybe let's try to get a good exit out of it so I can maybe get Jason, so I braked earlier. And yeah, I was a little bit too early on throttle and Jason a little bit too late, and that then led into a crash. And yeah, I'm really sorry for Jason, to be honest, but yeah, it's close racing.
Now, we had a chat with you back in Brands Hatch, obviously, when you finished second in the first race of the season. Are you kind of like learning every race onto how to go on the attack and maybe where there's a little bit more speed? Obviously, you got a good looking at what Henry was doing across that race to find out maybe where some of that pace was that he found in quali to go 0.3 faster?
Yeah, I mean, Henry is a really fast guy in the Formula Ford, and it's really hard to get on his pace. But I think if I do my best, P2 or is probably in there in the championship, and I'll just give it everything. I try to race consistent. I mean, the ending wasn't great now, but yeah, I'll just move on and heads down.
And obviously Snetterton next is a circuit which you've driven much. Are you excited for? Or is it something which is a bit kind of a bit apprehensive about?
Actually, I can't race next race,
so
so
there we go.
That would be a race off. That's really hard, but yeah, I'll come back for the next one then.
Well, we'll see you at Alton Park then. Have a good one, and yeah, see you soon.
You too. Thanks.
Perfect. So Sirius Amber on the podium for the second time this evening and a third in the championship. I think we'll very quickly catch a word, if we can, with Adam Tompkins before we get into the final British Formula 4 esports race of the evening. Of course, came into this round with, I think it was just the single point onto your name, Adam, coming into this one. Bit of a turnaround for the books. A couple of podiums, looking like a really strong driver to start fighting towards the front. Is that how you're feeling right now?
Yeah, a bit of an anomaly the first round, to be honest. At Brands, we're involved in all kinds of incidents, unavoidable incidents, so that'll definitely be a drop round. But yeah, happy with the third. I expected something to happen on the last lap, to be honest, with 3 up front. Just a bit of a shame with the slowdown, which got me out of the slipstream. But yeah, I'd still take third and second, to be honest, despite not winning the first race. But yeah, that's to Henry as well. That was a great drive.
Knowing how this championship is, I mean, you've said it with obviously how your first round was, how this season can unfold with a bit of drama. Are you kind of expecting someone like Henry Moore and Cyrus Ambrose, other drivers at the front, to kind of have those difficulties like what we've seen with Dana Moore, with yourself at Brands Indy? Are you expecting everyone's going to have one of those weekends or one of those rounds across the season?
I think so, yeah. I think it was me last week, and this week it looks like it may have been Jason, so maybe Dan as well, like you said. So yeah, I think that's going to happen, particularly at Knock Hill, or maybe that's everyone at Knock Hill, who knows. But yeah, I think it's just going to happen. It's unavoidable. It's racing, I guess. Is
Knock Hill the one you're a little concerned about, or is there another track on there where you're looking at it being like, oh, that one's going to be drama?
Well, Snetterton is one I've never really raced at before. Alton Park's a home circuit, so I'm looking forward to that one. So yeah, Snetterton and Knock Hill, not particularly familiar with them at a good level. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Well, Adam, congratulations. Well done on the evening. It's been a great turnaround for you, and we'll see you going strong next week.
Thanks very much. Take care.
And there we go, Cam. Formula 1600 done for the day. On to the British Formula 4 esports action for their final race. Reverse grid taking hold. This should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I think, open up to be a really good race. Of course, the final race of the evening, reverse grid coming our way. And after the battle that we had in that first yeah, in that first race of the evening, I think we're going to get even more. 20 minutes of action, and I don't think it's going to be, you know, the race winner just pulling away like we saw Pete Berryman in that first race.
Yeah, of course. Again, a reminder: the reverse grid is. I was going to say it's 7 at 6, isn't it? I can quick maths and stuff. Pete Berryman had a very solid race in the previous one. Obviously, like I say, did have a little bit of pressure from Josh Ladd at various points, but was basically running away. You can see the two Stormforce ART cars going around with each other at the moment. We're in warm-up. We're about to go into that race when that timer hits 0. He's not going to have an easy run in this one. You know, it's about keeping this one out of trouble. He said himself that 6th place would be pretty good, just keeping out of trouble.
Yeah, and I think that's the mentality that he's got to have coming into this. The reverse grid is always a little bit awkward, especially for the championship leaders and the people fighting for the championship. Oh, Hovland there, he's sliding on the rear. But for the guys contending for the championship, when you get put into the middle of the middle of the pack as such, and especially in the first couple laps when everyone's so close together, man, it's stressful and it's tricky, and you're so close. Every corner there could be potential danger. So for him, he just needs to have a nice clean lap 1 or 2, see where he is, and then just try and consolidate that position.
Yeah, we'll remind you of the top 5 or so from that race. Pete Berryman taking the victory, Josh Ladd, Luke McEwen, Gordy Much and Matt Caruana being the top 5 from that race. I'll chuck in Isaac Arberton as well because he's going to be the driver that gets reversed. We'll take a look in this warm-up session, having a look at some of the drivers and teams that maybe haven't had a particularly good start to the season. Manuel Bianca-Lilla, actually a good one to kind of touch on a little bit here, because for the Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant Esports team, it has not been a strong start to their campaign. They've had a lot of issues. Bianca-Lilla, we know, is rapid in an open wheeler, but they've just not really clicked in the championship. And when you're representing a team like Aston Martin, a brand like Aston Martin, in an official capacity, you're not just playing, representing them in the F1 game in your own little career mode. This is the real time. This is you're actually representing that actual brand. This is tough.
Yeah, when I saw the entry list and I saw that team, I was like, oh wow, this is quite big, because there's also when you get obviously let's call it like the independent teams as such, but when you actually get a proper racing team or a proper manufacturer team, something like that coming into it, you're like, wow, this is they're actually putting in some effort into a proper top level championship, and it just hasn't come for them. I really thought these guys are going to be battling inside the top 5 or so in the races, and maybe it doesn't help that obviously a lot of the other teams had experience or have had more experience in the car potentially, something like that, and maybe as the season progresses, by the final races of the season, by the time we come back to Donington and Brands Hatch for the longer circuits, maybe they would have worked out the car by then.
Sergio Fitzpatrick on screen at the moment. Obviously, was supposed to race back in Brands Hatch, but then the day before there was a couple of issues, etc., and then couldn't unfortunately take part, which is a big shame. We know Sergio Fitzpatrick and the Prismatic Esports team, that they are strong. In fact, they've had decent results of Prismatic Motorsports in the previous season. We can expect to see a bit more of that in future, but alas, sometimes the season they don't start in the way that you would particularly expect. It's kind of been a little bit of the same for Pure Sims for both their drivers. Harley Horns had a couple of problems. Alexander Davidson also having a couple of problems. This is an esports team that we expect to see consistently in the points. But when you're in a championship that's so strong like this, you get a couple of iffy results. It's hard to get back in the rhythm.
Yeah, Davidson did get 4th place in the second race in Brands, but there was a lot of things going on from memory in that one as well. So it's definitely very difficult to have the consistent. It was a 13th place as well in that first race. So yeah, so difficult. Of course, Horton getting a retirement in that the second race. So yeah, definitely going to be a tricky one to come back from. But once again, sometimes you just got to keep going, and as the race, as season progresses, you just got to keep working forward. Just find those tenths in the car.
Yeah, we had so a couple of looks at various drivers on the grid there, including one Mr. Gordy Much, who obviously had a retirement in the second race last time out. Hopefully not getting that one once more. We'll get ready for 20 more minutes in the event, in the race, and we'll bring you the starting grid. Isaac Arberton getting reversed up onto the pole position. Matt Caruana, Gordy Much, Luke McEwen, Josh Ladd and Pete Berryman, the drivers that all got reversed. Obviously that victory from Berryman earlier on in the evening. Lucas Miller, Remy Gilbert came into it battling for the championship. Josh Poulain, championship leader in 9th. Then Matt Emery in 10th place. James Armstrong and Ted Bradbury round out the top 12. Duncan Hoffland, the lone driver for Aston Martin with points on the board. Tamash Simon, Moreno, Sarika, Tobias Olsen, Brandon Abrahams, and of course Stanley Deslandis. Carl Chase, Harley Horton starting inside the top 20 with Daniel Sabula bopping along. You can see the rest of the grid filtering their way through. All 30 of our fantastic drivers onto the grid. I asked you last time, I'm going to ask you again very quickly. Who's coming out on top?
Pete Berryman with a double.
I'm going with Gordy Much. We'll switch our predictions from the last one. We'll get racing in the second race of the evening, the 4th of the championship. A good start from Isaac Upperton, pulling over the nose of Matt Caruana, who get to the inside in the first corner. The 29 of Gordy Much on the attack in the background, but it's one of his sister teammates, Luke McEwen, getting straight to the inside. It's nice and tidy between the top 10, 15, 20, and I think even 30 through the first quarter as we head down the hill to the old hairpin for the first time.
It all seems pretty one line up the inside, though. It might be a look there for Caruana, not quite enough to get the race lead as it stands. All over the grass, though, as he come up the hill and around the outside. This might be some moves up to the lead.
Yeah, it's Gordy Much making it 3 wide. Matt Caruana gets over to the left-hand side, takes a lot of the curb. Gordy Much trying to attack for it. Arvidsson around the outside as they head through McLean's for the first time, being followed by his teammate Luke McEwen up towards Coppice. It's Gordy Much still on the inside, but the number 13 of Isaac Arvidsson still trying to make it stick around the outside. He's going to have to commit all the way down the Starkey Straight towards the final chicane, but at the moment it does look as though it's the 29, the JHR by 29 Esports driver of Gordy Much, taking over the race lead and looking for his second victory of the season, but he's hit the curb. Oh, there's Luke McEwen as well as involved.
Oh, wow. Huge. So many cars there having to move out the way as that is the number 1 machine. McEwen go way back into the field. As we've seen, Pete Berryman now coming to second place around the outside, potentially for Caruana. Well, what an important contact potentially for the championship. A couple of drivers that we will be expecting to be up there. I think involved in that one is going to be Pete Berryman around the outside there through the crater curves to get up into second place.
Yeah, Caruana was out wide, dropping back that position. Pete Berryman now into second, 0.6 of a second, up towards Josh Ladd, who finds himself as our new race leader. Is back-to-back races where in the second race it's not so great for Gordy Much. We'll take another look back at it. Isaac Arvidsson was very close to the rear end. Was there contact on the curb? Was it just Gordy Much overcooking it? I get the feeling it might have just been Gordy Much taking too much of that second curb.
Yeah, I get the feeling as well. We obviously have to see it from sort of the left-hand side as such. This is going to be a really good shot. Goes in a slightly deep.
No,
there was contact. There definitely was contact. And I mean, look, McEwen absolutely nowhere to go.
Yeah, just got rubbed going through there by Isaac Arvidsson. That's what allowed Josh Ladd to go and take the race victory. Once again, look at the background, by the way. Josh Poulain working his way up there. Of course he was. Classic stuff. Now into 4th position. Loves to jump on these moments. Also, James Armstrong, teammate, in all of that, working his way through. So for Freem UK, it's actually looking pretty good once again. Teams Championship side of things, these are the kind of races they need to take full advantage of. Not only because they got a banging livery, but also because they want to win the Teams Championship. I just want to talk about the livery a little bit because I like dark blue and green.
Yeah, that's definitely your colours, isn't it? We've got Berryman and Caruana there on all. Sarika has gone off, the other Williams driver's teammate leading the race. And unfortunately, Sarika is out of this one.
Wow, big drama then for Williams Esports. Again, a team that we would expect to be fighting up towards the top. This is basically what happened. I think it's that fighting with Isaac Arvidsson or Tobias Olsen. I think it's Olsen. There was air between the pair of those going into the old hairpin, and that they all came to blows. They were all very tight going into there. All taking a lot of risk, and when you're taking those risks, you kind of know what's going to be on the occasion. There is Tobias Olsen over on the left side. Is there after some contact between the teammates, Aztec and Prismatic involved?
Yeah, that is not what you want to see. It's the two teammates. Here's Concoli coming in towards McLean's. Is there going to be anywhere for Rachel to go? Absolutely not. Just coming straight across horizontally in front of the car.
Yeah. Whoa! What a rejoin. 6 out of 10. And by that I mean that was terrible. I've done rejoins like that. That is unacceptable to just fire it straight back over onto the racing line. Obviously, drama, you think you're at the back and all that kind of stuff, but that's pretty poor. Big shame, but is what it is. We move on, and very unfortunate for Concoli, who just had absolutely nowhere to go. Back up to the race lead, though. Josh Ladd, Pete Berryman, Matt Caruana, Josh Poulain at the moment. The 4 drivers fighting for top honours. 15 and a bit minutes left to go. We're not even a quarter into this one. Josh Ladd on the left, Pete Berryman on the right in those webcams at the bottom. It is once again Williams versus Apex, but they're not alone in that fight.
Yeah, they're certainly not. And of course, 1-2 in the previous race, 2-1 as it stands so far in this one. Caruana's also looking very racy in that third place so far. And you can never count out Josh Poulain, of course, as we've been mentioning, leading the championship coming into this round here at Donington Park after the first round at Brands Indy. And it's certainly, the season started off with a lot of action, and these cars are really proving some great racing, and you can so easily make a mistake and drop down. But Berryman looking for a second race victory of the night, needs to try and find a way through. But as we saw in Brands Indy last week, Josh likes to lead and can lead from the front and defend quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I will say these are some actually genuinely like the most loved cars that I've seen on the iRacing service. Having spoken, obviously, I've hung around my fair share of the British Formula 4 paddock, which, by the way, British Formula 4 ends at the weekend at Brands GP. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I'm considering making my way down for it, just for bit of banter between my neck of the woods and the other paddock. We'll just call it the other paddock. It's fine. These cars are well loved by drivers of both paddocks, and quite a lot in esports, because it does drive kind of, in the vein it should be driving in, and it's why it's enjoyed by a lot of these drivers. The racing is intense as well. That does help.
Yeah, it certainly does. There is Emery. Oh, contact up the inside. Simon gets contact. Bradbury as well. Who's the other car? Was that Arvidsson? From your pole position, now has no rear wing.
Yeah, Isaac Arvidsson getting through on that. Ted Bradbury through. I mean, was looking fairly late. I don't know if it was more on him or more on Tamas Simon. Will ride on board with Ted Bradbury in all of this. It was close to looking to go 4 wide. Kind of commits to a move on the inside. And the thing is, at that point, so you've got to accept that Isaac Arvidsson would never get a call that that's 3 wide, because it technically isn't 3 wide, even though it is 3 wide. So he's not really getting a call that it's 3 wide, and Tamas Simon can't really go anywhere. I mean, that's a tough one. But
Simon was just
I get it. I get Bradbury going for that, but also at the same time, I don't get Bradbury going for that, because that was always going to happen every single day of the week.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, and he just put Simon in a really difficult place, because he had to leave space for Bradbury on the inside, but then of course Arvidsson, as you mentioned, probably didn't really know that was a 3 wide situation, so Bradbury definitely forced the error there, and unfortunately all 3 cars having major issues from that one. It's so easy to make the mistakes when the stakes are high and everyone's going for every little bit of position, sending their nose up the inside to try and find out if they can get past. Talking about that, actually, Matt Caruana in that 3rd place, starting to look a little bit racy with Pete Berryman in that 2nd place, about a car length back they're dropped from Josh Ladd, which is actually quite a big factor in this race, and it's looking like Pete Berryman now has the pressure behind him.
Yeah, and by the way, Luke McEwen just lost out to Manuel Bianca-Lilla, who's now worked his way up into 12th place in the Aston Martin team. So things are looking at least slightly better for Bianca-Lilla, who's working his way forward on board with Josh Poulain. You can see a little bit of the concertina effect heading through the final chicane. This is looking like a very different driver emotionally than what we saw in qualifying, which is a good sign, because we know Poulain's a very fast driver. We've seen that before in the season thus far, looking like a completely different driver than what we saw in 2022. We had a great interview with him back in Brands Indy. Obviously leaving that on with a couple of podiums and the championship lead. At the moment would very dearly like another podium to add to that list, but has to get one of these out of the way, including 2 of the top drivers of British Formula 4 Esports. And Matt Caruana, who's had a couple of average results, but we know has the speed to fight with victory. He has something to prove in this. It's not going to be easy for Poulain to get involved.
Yeah, Caruana, when we were back about this time last year on Friday Night Prime Time in Zach Sweeney, when we were covering the F4 Championship at that time. Caruana's always up towards the front of that. He's got a lot of experience in this car, and also was looking really good at Brands. Unfortunately, with the contact that dropped him down a couple of positions that time around, is getting to the front once again. Everyone sort of closes up on each other, but what I'm seeing here is Poulain purposefully sitting back. He always has that little bit of a gap and just not trying to get too involved in this moment of the race.
Yeah. Let's look the outside from Caruana. Probably not going to commit fully to a move there. Waiting a bit patiently. Berryman less so. Backs out of it, drops back in line behind Josh Ladd. It's tight between them. We're approaching the halfway mark of the race. Rejoining the fight as well, Remy Gilbert as well. Obviously, remember, victorious for Guild Racing in the previous one. And I know Seb Hawkins is in chat, ready to cheer on Remy Gilbert, who's working his way back forwards again. Also, to be fair, seems to have a little bit of a fan base, I've noticed.
race lead though, around the outside for Berryman. That's going to open up the door for Caruana to get up the inside, in towards Cobus. If he can't make the move, almost 3 wide it's going to be. And this is a very important time for the race, because Josh Ladd is now going to be potentially getting away as Caruana comes up the inside for that second place. Poulain's going to try and follow him through. This is a very difficult situation for Pete Berryman. He's out on his own on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I think he might try and still commit through the final chicane, might back out of it a little bit on Matt Caruana, see what Josh Poulain does. Poulain's going to send it through, so Pete Berryman playing the wise game and backing out of it. Big moment there from Josh Poulain. He might well lose the position immediately as Pete Berryman's going to try and get back onto the podium. It's a 5-way fight for the race lead. Josh Ladd clearing out by half a second. The number 33 for Freem UK is going to drop back into 4th as Pete Berryman sweeps around the outside at Redgate to retake 3rd after that mistake from Poulain.
And you could see the annoyance in Berryman's, because they had all that battling, and then Poulain making a mistake sort of just really gave Josh Ladd a free token in this second half of the race. And get into this second 10 minutes, Gilbert there looking very comfortable in that 5th. He'll be very happy with that one now. He's on, potentially looking at a podium. So I can definitely understand Pete Berryman's frustration with that one, because now they've got a lot more work to do to catch up to Josh Ladd, who's just been leading the way rather comfortably so far.
Now, Remy has promised, if we do interview him this week, if he does get onto the podium this week, he will actually leave a light on, so we can see him, because last time light was off and he was just in the shadows. It's not very good from a cinematography point of view, but he's thinking about that. So he's thinking about more than just his driving. Respect him. Guild Racing trying to get onto the podium for the second time this season. Poulain with a big slide going through, a bit of a tank slapper into that final chicane. Bit of a gap appearing between Matt Caruana and Pete Berryman. We've still got 9 minutes left on the clock. Don't do anything too hasty, as there's plenty of time. You know the only thing that I'll say, by the way, about Poulain's car that I don't like? See if you can guess.
Red wheels.
Yeah, it's the red wheels. Straight away, he's on it. What is that about?
Is that just a differentiation from teammate, I would assume, to try and make it stand out? But yeah, I know you're not a big fan of that sort of livery.
That's too garish. I like bright green on my livery, but red wheels, that's too far apparently. That said, a set of lime green wheels
would also look pretty silly.
They would look silly, but I would still go for it. We won't talk about that too. It's fine. Yes, I'm inconsistent. I said 5 for the race lead, by the way. Make that 7. I remember I remember from last season the magic rule of 6. 7 is more than 6. And what I meant by that is that when you have 6 cars, that was the perfect number to go battling, and every time you had a 7th car in there, it would split into like a group of 3 and a group of 4, or there would be a horrendous crash. It wouldn't stay at 7 for very long. Is that the case in 2023? We'll have to wait and see.
I think it is, and a little bit, it is splintered a little bit. We've got the 2-way battle at the front, but I think Pete Berryman will be able to catch up to that one. Caruana, though, almost pushing Josh Ladd downhill. We've seen this twice now, where Ladd gets into the front of the race and everyone backs up behind him. Is this on purpose? Does he go slightly slower on purpose when he's in those positions? It's certainly a very interesting one compared to some others when they get out towards the front, but it's certainly going to be a very tricky final part of the race. But once again, Josh Ladd, he just looks so calm in those front positions.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, sounded calm in the interview as well, despite some of the dramas during the race. Looks calm. Representing Williams Esports, has no assistance from Moreno Sirica at the moment. We ride on board. You can see how much the mirrors are filled there by Matt Caruana behind. A lot of curb being taken through the first part of the fog at ES. It's a slow exit. Matt Caruana's joining the fight to the outside. He's going to go into Redgate, into that first corner. 7 minutes left to go on the clock. Is Caruana going to try and take the race lead now? Backs out of it. Might go for the up and under through the first corner. Does have the inside line as they head down the Craner curves. They go through Hollywood now. This could be it for Caruana, Cam.
It certainly could. You've got to look out for Pete Berryman coming into the outside. The bit of contact between the two. Caruana saves it. And now is he going to keep it up the inside? Yes, he is. Josh Ladd goes a bit wide. Side by side, they come up the hill and look for Poulain also trying to get involved in this battle. It's going to be almost 3 wide as we come around Schwantz.
Yeah, this is scary. This is really scary. And there's a massive netcode in that. Josh Ladd, Josh Poulain has sent off in all of that. I'm pretty sure it was. If not, there was a significant amount of contact. That was a big, scary moment from Josh Ladd. Matt Caruana then will take over the race lead. Berryman, Gilbert, Armstrong and Muller said that 6 was the magic number. That's peak battling. 7's too many. There's always drama involved when there's 7.
Josh Ladd cannot catch a break this season, can he? He got sent off in turn 1 at Brands Indy, and he's got absolutely sent off there at McLean's. Both weren't his fault, but that's what happens when you get towards the front. Unfortunately, battles do come. So we come now in towards the final 6 minutes of the race. Caruana leading, Pete Berryman sitting there comfortably in second place, and championship-wise, that's looking nicely for him. But Gilbert there in third place, of course. He's currently sitting at, he's at fourth place in championship, so he's looking good as well. So this could be crucial points with some big names dropping down.
Look at the slides as well as they come into the old hairpin. Looks fantastic. Matt Caruana at the front. We've been waiting to see a few things from Matt Caruana. I mean, you pointed out, you know, we've seen Caruana in. It was when it was Friday night prime time when we were doing the British, well, we were doing Formula 4s, obviously, and it came round here, and you know, Callum Voice and people like that, you know, proper drivers, you know, that race in motorsport in the UK at this, you know, in these kinds of cars. I know Caruana is the kind of driver that will battle with them, that can fight with them. Did not have the best run last season, and I think never had a podium last season, if memory serves. And you know, from what I'm looking at here, had a few retirements, never a podium. Did have a top 5 a couple of times, but still struggled to get those results. Would love dearly to take a victory, and we know he absolutely has the speed to take a victory.
Yeah, he's definitely got the talent, but he's now going to hold on from Pete Berryman. Unfortunately, he's got 4.5 minutes to hold on. It's not like he's got 1 lap to go. And yeah, that's going to be a very difficult one. And Pete Berryman, he was my call on the grid to get a double race victory. Let's see how this one goes. I'm not getting too confident with that one just yet, because we never know what happens in this series. Here's Josh Ladd. He dropped down to 7th place in the end. He's now got Emery all over the back of him.
Yeah, probably a fair amount of damage as well. We've not really seen the incident, but I'm curious to see what happened in that. I mean, it's just crazy fighting between the group. Something like that, let's be honest, was guaranteed to happen at some point. Someone was going to pay a price. Just a big shame that it was Josh Ladd. I mean, here's a look at it. You can see Josh Ladd there in the number 2, the race lead. You've got Caruana, you've got Josh Poulain involved in all of it. This is a look from above. It was stonking and just pushed straight over the nose of Poulain. Nothing either of them could really do in that. Just how it goes.
Yeah, I feel bad for Poulain there, because he left the space on the outside for the, you know, the 2 cars on his inside, and unfortunately just basically ran out of road, just had absolutely nowhere to go. So very, very disappointing for him. He's now down to 6th place himself, so he's 5 seconds off this top 5 battle that we've ended up with. Emery gets back past Ladd there for P7, so Ladd now down into 8th place as they come down the hill towards the crater curves, and now in towards the old hairpin. We've got side-by-side just in behind them as well. Gordy Much is involved in that one, as here comes Vasquez now trying to get around the outside of Josh Ladd for Altus Esports. That is going to be a huge move as Josh Ladd now tries to defend up once more, 3 wide into the same corner.
Yeah, that was always going to happen, and Josh Ladd's bit into the same corner 2 consecutive times in this race. Again, 3 wide into it. You're asking for a lot of trouble. That was tough racing. It was hard racing between the pair of them as we head back up to the race lead. Then 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. There'll be 3 laps left in this one. Matt Caruana leads from Berryman, from Gilbert, from Armstrong, and from Lucas Muller. The 5 of these battling for the race victory. All 5 representing completely different squads in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. And Pete Berryman's looking to try and take the sweep for the evening. He's got down the inside of Matt Caruana, who gets straight back down the inside going into Hollywood. Down the crater curves they'll go. It should be advantage Berryman, but as they head into the craters, it'll be the inside line for Matt Caruana once they get to the old hairpin. Backing out with the number 50 Stormforce ART car, sits in second, near contact again as they come up the hill.
Oh, he almost made that move stick, but Caruana just got such a good run off Redgate, up the inside into McLean's 3rd lap in a row. Is there going to be contact? No, there's not. And they go side by side, and this is looking good for Gilbert actually to get a good run as they switch sides up through Coppice, and still leading the way is Caruana, but he bobbles there onto the back straight. This is going to be a good opportunity for Berryman to dive down the inside.
I can see this ending either in a fantastic race or a horrendous crash. Matt Caruana continuing to squeeze over there on Pete Berryman, who won't be particularly pleased, and you can see he's getting a bit vocal on the mic there. He's not pleased what he's seen from Matt Caruana. There was getting crowded out just a touch. Will have to remain in 2nd position. Remy Gilbert victorious back in Brands Hatch. Obviously you've got James Armstrong in there as well, representing Freedom UK, who came into this as the team's championship leader. The outside line being taken, the up and under this time from Pete Berryman. Caruana's able to hang on, a little bit of a squeeze over. Caruana's still in the race lead, but it's going to be close coming down to the old hairpin.
Certainly is, and Caruana's been so aggressive with his defence. Can Berryman find a way through? Up the inside, it's going to be to the old hairpin. He takes the race lead with just a lap and a half to go. Caruana's on the grass as well, so he's got a car length lead up the hill once more, as it's going to be Muller trying to get battle with Armstrong there for that 4th place just in the background, but that's a huge move from the Stormforce ART car.
And just to clarify as well, if you include 2022 and of course 2023, we've never seen a clean sweep in a round in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship. Could that be about to change? Gordy Much and Alex Davidson going to fight here. Much around the outside in a fairly damaged JHR by 29 Esports car. Straight around the outside, he's going to go at Coppice, and boom up into 7th position, just trying to take any points that he can. Matt Caruana, final lap of the race, still trying to take the race lead over Pete Berryman, who's just about going to hang on over the line this time. They've got one more attempt around Donington National to try and steal it from the Northern Irishman.
Well, it's a bit tight there on the inside for Berryman. Can he get the exit off Redgate, or is there going to be momentum downhill for Matt Caruana? Look for Remy Gilbert as well to take this off Caruana a little bit later in the lap. Let's see how this one goes. Pete Berryman really needs to try and hold on to this. The issue for him now is he's in a bit of a tricky situation with all the cars coming through. This is going to be a hard defence.
If I was in Pete Berryman's position right now, the last driver I'd want behind me is Matt Caruana, a driver who we know could get aggressive, could get his elbows out and could try and find his way through. This time they head up towards McLean's. It's Caruana around the outside. It could be a fantastic move. He's getting crowded out as they head up towards Coppice. Pete Berryman with the inside line this time for the Stormforce ART car. Kimura's going to try and come through. Matt Caruana representing the squad. You've also got James Armstrong and Lucas Muller fighting behind. It's going to be super tight as they head down the Starkey straight for the last time. The inside line's being taken from Pete Berryman. Matt Caruana's going to try and commit to the outside. It's going to be side by side of the final chicane. Berryman comes across. Berryman's going to come across the line. It's a 6th victory in his British F4 career. It's a 2nd of the season, and it's the first ever clean sweep that we've had in British Formula 4 Esports history. Remy Gilbert crosses the line in 2nd, and Matt Caruana with a well-deserved 3rd in his first podium ever in British Formula 4 Esports. Lucas Muller and James Armstrong come across the line in 4th and 5th, and the 5 of those can take a bow. What a race that was.
How on earth did Caruana not spin Berryman there at the final apex of the lap, the second part of the chicane? I thought we were going to see a replay of what we've seen a few times this evening so far of cars getting spun there, but Berryman just managed to have enough speed to hold on there as he come down the straight. The issue of Caruana is he got held up a little bit and Gilbert came past. Let's have a look at the replay of how this one started all the way back at McLean, side by side. Huge effort for Caruana around the outside. The issue is on the outside here, in towards Coppice, he's not going to get the run onto the straight, and that puts him under a little bit of a disadvantage, a little bit under attack here from Gilbert.
Yeah, obviously you can see right on board Remy Gilbert at the moment. Who will sit in that slipstream, but just watch what Matt Caruana does here. So he gets to the outside, he commits. The problem is, I get the feeling he overcommits. You're either going to go for the move or you're going to lose out right now. And just overcommitted, took a lot of the curb there on the outside. I mean, I get it. You know, you've got to try and go for the race victory. It was so close as well. Got to say, excellent fight between Matt Caruana and Pete Berryman, and Remy Gilbert coming through to take 2nd place and steal an extra few points for Guild Racing. So that's a very solid effort. But I've got to say, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that was really enjoyed that race. And of course, we lost some big names. You know, the likes of Josh Ladd ended up down in P10, unfortunately. Gordy Much was a little bit low down than he would have wanted. So, yeah, definitely loads of action tonight.
Yep, certainly so. Pete Berryman taking the race victory for the 2nd time. Only a 10th and a bit. This almost looks like a qualifying sheet with the top 5. Remy Gilbert in 2nd. Matt Caruana in 3rd, rounding out the podium. Lucas Muller, James Armstrong, Josh Pulane, Alex Davidson, Gordy Much, Aaron Vasquez and Josh Ladd, your points scorers from the evening. So much drama in all this. Manuel Biancalilla puts the Aston Martin team in 11th before we get a large gap back to Luke McEwen. Ben Hitz, Rachel Concoli, Saoirse Fitzpatrick in 15th position. Having a little bit of a battle there between the Prismatic. They finished 6,000 a second apart, by the way. Probably for a photo finish, it's fine. Tamash Simon, Daniel Sabula, Carl Chase, Matt Emery and Isaac Arberton retiring from that one, obviously with that crazy incident we saw. And look at this for a list of retirements. Bradbury, Marinero, Parron Smith, Hoffland, Sarika, Olsen, Abrahams, Horton, Deslanis, McAuliffe. Retirement from this race. That is a whopper of a list. Absolutely crazy. And I think we should probably jump straight into our interviews. And I'd love to hear from Pete Berryman straight away. Unbelievable evening. Again, came into it with 4 race victories last season, adds an extra couple and takes our first ever clean sweep of an evening proceeding. Pete, that was pretty stressful in that one. Talk us through that battle with Caruana.
Yeah, it was pretty much polar opposite of the first race. The first race, it was a bit of a time trial, and that one was kind of, I tried to manage it as best I can. I mean, I got a bit lucky. I was fighting for the win. Like, my teammates got pretty unlucky with, I need to look what happened, but yeah, obviously they got taken out, so that made my life a bit easier. From there, it was more just managing when to sit back and when to attack. So yeah, in the end, I think I timed it right. The last lap or two were pretty stressful, but yeah, I just think the practice paid off, positioned my car in the right place, and yeah, I sort of knew that I had the upper hand heading in towards the finish of that one.
Even, you know, a driver that's as well experienced in the world of sim racing as yourself, you know, you've battled at a lot of championships at high level. Even then, how is your heart rate on the final lap of a race like this when you've got that pressure on your shoulders? Is it through the roof, or have you kind of found a way of keeping yourself calm and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not through the roof. I don't know. It's definitely a bit higher than, you know, the first race, for example. But yeah, you just sort of got to. I knew at worst I was finishing third or fourth, which I sort of said to myself, you know, before in the first interview. That was sort of happy enough for me. So it was more just about making sure I didn't ruin what I had going. So, like, if I finished second, I would have took it. But yeah, I'm just thankful that Matt was, you know, the racecraft was pretty good between us. I think we both raced fair. So as long as the guys give space, it's not too scary, I guess.
And finally, before I let you go, obviously, again, there was, like you've alluded to, there was another incident in that race. We saw kind of, you know, similar instance in the first round. We've seen this quite a lot over the championship. When you're involved in a fight, when there's sort of like 5, 6, 7 cars, are you kind of in that mindset of like expecting there to be something at all times? You're not just kind of involved in a little fight that you're in. You're always kind of like, there's going to be a crash or some drama at some point. Are you kind of ready for that?
I mean, as much as you can be ready for it, you sort of know that something has to go wrong at some point. I mean, it's so difficult. You're trying to look behind, in front, and beside you at the same time, going through corners whilst driving your own car. So it's really, really tough. It may look at times like quite silly when people are crashing, but it's so difficult to manage these cars, especially in these little circuits when, you know, the corners can be quite tight. So yeah, it's pretty tough to manage. So I know I do feel bad for the guys. It's not an easy job to get things right all the time.
Well, Pete, now you're, you know, six-time round winner, a six-time race winner, and of course you're the first driver to sweep around the British Formula 4 Esports. Congratulations, and we'll see you in a week's time. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. See ya.
There we go, Pete Berryman. What a driver! what speed! What unbelievable racecraft this weekend, or round anyway. It's really hard not to say weekend in all of that. We'll be joined by Remy Gilbert as well after another solid reverse grid race. Had to really work for this one though into second place, representing Guild Racing once more. Remy, hopefully you've got your light on and you're ready for an interview, but. Incredible performance. That is such a dicey race. Talk us through that kind of moment when you saw Caruana and Berryman going side by side in that final chicane. Did you kind of think maybe they might crash? Maybe I'll take a victory here?
Oh, mate, 100%. I was like, I thought Matt was going to bounce off the curb on the left. My eyes just lit up, but it didn't happen. But Matt just luckily managed to pit Matt on the line. And, you know, P2 is good points for the championship. Just looking to stay consistent and hopefully we'll end up with a good result.
These races seem absolutely crazy from the outside. Are they kind of as crazy when you're in the race, or are you literally just thinking about the car ahead, car behind, and nothing else?
I mean, you have to look, when you're attacking, you always have someone behind you, so you just have to be that careful. You know, if you make a mistake, you're going to lose 2 or 3 positions, just the way how close the pack is. And, you know, that happened with, you know, Josh Ladd went off, so did Josh Pillane, and just trying to stay out of trouble does gain you places.
They had a bit more difficulty in the first race, a little bit in qualifying as well. Yeah, how hard is it to kind of bounce back from qualifying? Sometimes when you've had some issues through a race, how difficult can that be for you, considering the position of the championship and stuff?
I mean, when you have a bad qualifying, it's easy to be overly aggressive in the race and make too many rash moves and end up dropping yourself even further down. So I think it's about just one by one picking off the positions, just thinking about the championship and, you know, don't be too aggressive, but also get your nose in, get like there or thereabouts, and you should finish pretty high.
Well, you have quite a fan base, as we're sitting in chat, and apparently it's growing because of the way you're driving this season. Congrats on another well-deserved race result, and we'll see you in a week's time.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Guild Racing onto the podium once more. I'm sure Seb Hawkins will be very happy with how things are going at the moment. We'll catch up as well with Matt Caruana, who will join us because again, decent result. I believe again. I'm scared of checking the stats book and stuff. But I believe it's your first podium in the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, Matt. Obviously we know you've got the speed. We've seen it time and time again. Starting to show it in that race. What a battle there with Pete Berryman. What was your mindset going into that final chicane?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was just looking to gather some points. I think it was 5th in the first race, so yeah, I was just looking to get some points. I thought I'd go for it on the last lap. I mean, nothing wrong with what Peter did. It was a good race, space given. I'm happy to race with them too, Remy as well. So yeah, it was good.
Now, your 2022 campaign had a couple of difficulties in it. There's a few retirements in there. There was a few incidents. What have you learnt from that season that you're doing differently for 2023? Because, again, you look to be showing that pace, but also being, like I say, maybe a little bit more restrained than what we saw last year.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I'm just being more conservative this year, to be honest. Like, maybe not going for moves that I would have last year, and just keeping my head, to be honest. If someone goes for a move and I'm just trying to keep my head, to be honest, and stay cool. So yeah.
Well, I'm sure that race victory is not too far away. Any circuit where you're feeling very confident? Of course, we've seen you recently take a victory around Silverstone, so maybe there. Who knows?
Yeah, Silverstone maybe. Well, on the media day, I feel like I don't know if everyone's up to pace on that, but yeah, it was quite good there. And Snetterton maybe, I don't know, next week should be fun. So yeah.
Well, best of luck next week. We can't wait to see you there. Good job tonight.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And there we go, Cam. Again, another round, another fantastic few results. Matt Caruana, well deserved onto the podium. Pete Berryman, well deserved clean sweep of Donington Park.
Yeah, that's going to be a lovely points haul from him, to be honest, coming into the next round of the season. So I can't wait to see how that one is going to go. This car seems to be working really well. The action is so good. And like Pete Berryman said, it's so difficult to have these side-by-side battles, but we're getting a lot of them. And that is what we love to see in this championship. So I'm really looking forward to how the rest of the championship is going to go before we get to the finale at Brands GP in November.
Speaking of finales, before we hype up the rest of the season, we will remind you as well, the official British Formula 4 Championship will come to a close this weekend on Sunday at Brands GP. Of course, we'll be imitating that a little bit later on in the season. Really, really tight in the championship as well. Louis Sharp leading by just a single point over Will McIntyre. It's just those two fighting for the championship. Should be an awful lot of fun. For all of us here, though, from RaceSpot, from the British Formula 4 Esports Championship, we have had an awful lot of fun bringing you the Formula 4 races and the Formula 1600s. And again, as all the drivers have reminded you, and as we will as well, we will be back in just a single week's time to end this triple header to start the season as we venture to the Snetterton 300 circuit. It's a difficult one, it's a long one, it's tough, twisty, and very tricky indeed. We'll see you there, but until then, have a very, very warm goodbye from myself, Lewis McGlade, and from Cam Roger. We'll see you soon.